All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I am your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 247 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be with you and for you to be here with us. Whether you are live streaming, podcasting, or YouTubing, we want to thank you so much for taking time to be with us in this time as we have a show that is going as pretty much the NFL is getting ready to go because we have Saturday football this week. I know that's always kind of odd for everybody, but for the record, Trev, just to dive kind of into it right now, I would prefer this to be the case, like I was telling you before the show, over any Thursday night football or anything like that. I think it'd be perfect. I know everyone's going to tell me, well, Lance, college football is going to get pissed about that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really give a shit. I'm an NFL fan, and I would prefer to have a 3 or 4 game slate on Saturdays. It kind of opens the slate up a little bit for Sunday.
We're sick.
Yeah, we have a problem. And I would prefer it to be that way, so where that way the Sunday slate kind of opens up and you can focus a little bit more on certain games where Red Zone isn't as just a constant pacing where you're just trying to find play-by-play. It kind of opens things up. And you can have an extra Monday night football game. I'd be down for that. Nevertheless, I'm not going to go too far on a rant on that yet because I think that there's still a lot of time for that to be done. The NFL is going to be having some big rules changes in the next year or so. I can't wait to talk about that in a second. But first and foremost, as I say at the top of the show, I say at the bottom of the show, if you've not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and change that today because we have a lot of growth that we'd like to get going on that side of things. We've had a great amount of success on the Facebook, Twitter side of things. We continue to have growth and success on those sides. We're trying to continue to grow and implement that on the YouTube side. So if you guys would be so kind, I know all of you have a YouTube account. So go ahead and get up on that YouTube account, get the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, like, notify. But most importantly, because it's literally a part of our show, we want you to get into the comments. We have a section of our show called Speak It. It's a segment where we give you guys the platform to take over, where Trevor asks the questions and Trevor and I both react to those questions or your takes, concerns, whatever you guys have. And it isn't just Chiefs related. It doesn't have to be NFL related. It can be MMA, baseball, whatever you guys have for us. You can try to stump us, in fact. I mean, we're not experts here, but we always like a good question that I'm like sitting here going, Trevor, what the fuck are they talking about? I have no idea what they're trying to say to me.
It's never happened.
It's never happened. I mean, we're undefeated here. We're Floyd Mayweather in this bitch. But the point is, we want you to feel like a part of this show because this show is literally for you guys. It's for you to feel like you're welcome here, and if you're a normal person here, you're a regular here. If you're Norm from Cheers around here, we did start a little bit early because, guys, we got football today. We got some parties to get to tonight. We got some things in our lives that we need to get to, so I hope you guys hang tough with us. I know it's a little bit early, but we wanted to get this show out as fast as we could because we got a lot to talk about. If you've not seen our picks yet, go to our YouTube, go to our Facebook or our Twitter pages. Trevor and I picked the 3 games today. If you guys have questions about what you want to put money on, Trevor's also available for that as well on Twitter and on Facebook. You can ask him questions. He's a little bit more of an expert on that than I am. I just kind of go with what I feel is right, and I always am wrong. So that's just kind of how I do things. If you want somebody that can actually help you make a little money, he'd be the guy to talk to. But before we get to any of those things, before we get to holding any L's, before we get to this Chiefs-Patriots preview that I know everyone's just absolutely thrilled about because this should just be an absolute scorcher, right? There are some comments that were made this week from the Chiefs in particular, and you know, it all stems from the fact that, and I'm not doing a post-game because that's what we do with chatting up the Chiefs post-game with Von Booker, Trevor, and myself after every single Chiefs game. So if you want our honest and immediate reactions to what takes place after every single game, win or lose, go ahead and check that out on our YouTube channel as well, or any Starcade media availability that you will find on social media. You'll see our videos on there. But what I will say is this loss to the Bills really shook this team in a lot of ways. So much so that we're now getting how would I say, mixed comments from this team. Now, we know that this franchise, since Andy Reid took over, has been very strong to its core when it comes to not having a lot of controversy. There's a lot of solidification. You know, this team has one goal in mind, and very, very, very seldom do we have issues with the Chiefs to where it feels like things are a little out of control. I will be honest with you. I think this is one of those seasons where that is, in fact, the case, at least to the degree or above the standard that we know is expected here. And to the Chiefs' credit, they've set that standard. You know, a Super Bowl standard, a standard of little to no controversy, very class, you know, they represent themselves well as an organization. You know, there's other franchises like that as well. The Patriots, outside of the cheating scandals, the Steelers, you know, franchises like that, some of the blue bloods, you know, they've found a way to really represent themselves well. And I think the Chiefs have really entered that chat, if you will. But this is a season where you can tell that the pressure is really starting to get to some of these guys, even to the guys that you wouldn't expect it to. This is via the New Heights podcast, which I know you guys are very much familiar with. I know Swifties are also starting to gain some attention to it as well for the right reasons. But we know we have our guy Travis Kelce responding to a question, or at least just something that's been on his mind. You can tell this is something that's been kind of boiling over inside of him for a few days. And this is via the New Heights podcast, and this is Travis Kelce talking about the media.
And I know there's a lot of media pointing fingers at some of the skill players that we have. I say fuck that, and excuse my language. We usually cuss in lighthearted ways, but this is I felt like you guys had to feel that. Whoever's talking shit on the skill players in our offense right now, man. It's this is a group effort, and when you turn the film on, what's real is that we got guys that can play this game. And we got guys that we can have success with and win championships with. I know it. I've been on championship caliber teams. When you watch the film, penalties in critical moments, turnovers in critical moments, and it's everybody. It's not one guy. It's everybody's getting a piece of the pie. And yeah, it's frustrating. But at the same time, we know a lot of it is self-inflicted. And we know that, you know, moving forward, it can be fixed. And we have the guys to be able to get it fixed. And it kind of sounds like a broken record at this point, but I don't give a damn. It's my livelihood. It's to keep this kind of mentality throughout the season. We're 8-5 amongst the top of the AFC. And this year we're battling our tail off, and we're figuring out what kind of team we are in a different way than we have in the past. All this that I hear in the media right now about who the Chiefs are, it's only building that beast that we've been trying to create this entire year. And it's only going to keep making us better and better, going through these learning experiences and going through these tough games. You know, in years past, yeah, we found ways to win these games. And I think that this year we're finding ways to keep getting better every single week. And at the end of the day, it just takes a lot of focus, man. A lot of focus on the right things, and just being accountable for the guy next to you and executing your fucking job.
So that was Travis Kelce at the New Heights podcast. And let me first say that I understand being in his position, things have got to be frustrating because there's a lot of times Travis Kelce has to use canned responses. I think that's why this podcast with his brother has been, and I can speak from experience here at a much lower degree, but, you know, getting to do this, it's a good outlet for you to be able to let some of this stuff out that you may not be able to in a lot of other avenues or a lot of other venues where Travis has to be a little bit more politically correct. You know, inside the locker room, you know, you don't want to really be a loose cannon. But I think in New Heights podcast, Travis has been able to kind of vent his frustrations. He's actually really good. And I think it's also because of the fact that I know this sounds weird, but bear with me for a second. I think because he played quarterback earlier in his high school and college career, you know, being the face of a team and still being essentially a face of a team, even though Patrick Mahomes is here.
He could deflect pretty good.
He's been really good, yes, at articulating his thoughts without being overly controversial.
Right.
Having said that, and first and foremost, I appreciate the fact that Travis Kelce's out here, still got the backs of his players, showing true leadership. That to me, because we just showed you guys a week ago, MVS literally acting like he has no idea what PJ Green was talking about from Fox 4 when he asked him the simple question about, you know, why, you know, what's going on this season with you? Why do you suck? And MVS wanted to play aloof. Well, Travis is not doing that. Travis is attacking it head on. And he's explaining to you guys what he thinks, what he feels, what he believes. And I appreciate him having the back of his teammates. But what Travis is saying is clearly not true. Because first of all, attacking the media for simply addressing what is being put out there, to me, is never something that I'm going to agree with. I appreciate, defending your teammates, but when you're sitting here saying that they're talking shit, or, saying fuck that, or you're basically attacking them, simply having a discussion like we're doing right now, or like Travis is ironically doing on his own show, which, by the way, is media as well. It's to me, I think you're casting aspersions, you're casting the frustration where it doesn't really belong. And this is actually a follow-through, and this shows you how connected Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are, because that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes did this last week after the game when he was talking about how, you just got to let us play, man. You got to let us, get this stuff done. He's blaming the refs, basically. So we have Travis Kelce going at the media to distract us from what the real problem is, and Patrick Mahomes doing the exact same with the refs. All in the same time, this team still has a real problem. So it doesn't really matter what the refs do or don't do. It doesn't really matter what the media says or doesn't say. That's not the actual problem. The problem is what they're defending. And again, that shows leadership. That shows that because we all know that Travis and Patrick Mahomes are fully aware that their wide receiver room sucks ass. They are fully aware of it, guys. If we know it and we can see it from our television screens, you don't think they can see it from 15 feet away on the football field? They know. They know that Kadarius Toney has cost them multiple games. And speaking of Kadarius Toney, the problem that we have here is that we have Travis Kelce saying one thing about, it's the media, and we have Patrick Mahomes saying it's the refs, they won't let us play. And then we have somebody that's going exactly against everything they're saying by trying to make it sound as if he did nothing wrong. And there is no real problem. It's all the refs. This is Kadarius Toney just this week from the I believe it's
pretty much bogus. Really what it is. I mean, we moving forward. We ready to play now. Getting ready for a game.
What do you say? You said it's bogus, or you said?
Yeah.
Why so?
What you mean? I mean, y'all wouldn't be talking to me if it wasn't a big deal. So I mean, at the end of the day, that's my comment about it. I ain't got nothing else to say. Regardless, like I said, we getting ready for another game.
Did they tell you anything about your alignment? Because they went back and kind of looked at how you were lined up throughout the entire game, and it really kind of seemed like it was similar on that last play. Did they tell you anything about the game?
Nah, they didn't. And then they came back a lot and said they gave me a warning, which I never talked to a ref. But like I said, man, we're moving forward. I ain't really studying that. That's small, full spectrum. We moving forward, man. We're not thinking about that no more.
What's it going to take to get y'all on track right now, since y'all are moving forward?
Just a lot of focus, I guess you could say. Start today,
I want to be clear about what you just said. That they said that they gave you a warning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said they gave me a warning. I never talked to a referee. Yeah, for sure.
Who told you that?
That what they just came back and told me like yesterday, day before yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Kadarius Toney. I don't know if you caught the last part of that, but and I believe it was Sam McDowell that asked the question, so I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. Kadarius Toney, multiple times in that interview, and at the very end in particular, said that the ref never gave him a warning. And Sam said, really? You were told that they gave him a warning. The refs are claiming they gave him a warning. And Sam McDowell said, when did you hear that? Who told you that? And he said, I heard that a couple days ago. And really, like you can hear Sam McDowell confusingly is asking him really, because the reason for McDowell's confusion is the same reason for Trevor and I's confusion and everyone else's confusion, because we saw Kadarius Toney never even look at the ref. He just simply pointed to the sideline. And then we get a confirmation from Andy Reid the next day in his press conference that Kadarius Toney never checked with the ref. So how is it that the refs are telling us that they gave him a warning when he never even looked to see if they did? See, this is the problem we have here, guys. This team has people that are refusing to take accountability and responsibility for their shortcomings. I'm not sitting here saying that Kadarius Toney needs to get on the mic and say, hey, listen, I suck ass. I'm terrible. Like Happy Gilmore when he says that to Chubbs, when he's like, I'm not attractive, you're very good looking. Like, I don't expect him to do those things. Yeah. But it's a simple, for me, it's a follow-through of the leadership that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are trying to relay. Well, they're taking the brunt of the responsibility and the focus off of the player. The player also needs to sit here and say, you know what? I need to play better. I need to do better because I'm not playing to the level that this team and this fan base is expecting me to play. But instead, we have MVS acting like a jackass and acting like he doesn't know what the hell the question is even mean, why the question's even being asked to him about why he's being underwhelming. And then a week later, we have Kadarius Toney calling it bogus when the penalty was as legitimate as any penalty we've seen all this season. I know People are telling us, Trevor, Dan Orlovsky included, well, there was like 4 or 5 other instances in this game where Kadarius Toney was lined up off sides. Guys, that might be true. That doesn't take away from the fact that this one in particular, not only was he off sides, he was blatantly off sides. And I've never been the guy. You guys know, if you watch this show, you follow any of my tweets, you guys know I never, ever hesitate to crush officials in the NFL. They suck. Yeah. They are terrible, especially Carl Sheffers. We know that he has a history here at Arrowhead. We know this man's got a problem being an adequate at best official. We know he's got problems. And in this game in particular, we saw bad calls and bad no calls. But this was legitimate. I do not care if Kadarius Toney lined up off sides any other time. I care about this one. And in the biggest play, and later in that, I wanted to play it, but it was too long. He says multiple times in this interview with the press that they took away this great play from the all-time great tight end with the throw that Travis Kelce had to Kadarius. No, they didn't. You did. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you fucked up, man. There's nothing wrong with that. And Trevor, I'm going to be honest with you. With 4 games left on the Chiefs' schedule, albeit very winnable games, all 4 games are against backups. Yeah. And we just saw a display of shit against the Chargers and Easton Stick that the Chiefs are going to finish their season off against. We know that these are all very winnable games. The Chiefs should be heavy favorites in all these games. But what worries me, Trevor, is the mentality of this team right now. It feels to me like they cannot get out of their own way both on the field and off of it. They don't know how to maintain responsibility of what's going on the field. If we went back before the season started, Trevor, and we asked every single fan, what do you think this team is going to do offensively? How many points do you think they'll average? People would say 27, 28, 29 points probably, because that's the standard, right? That's how much they've averaged since Patrick Mahomes has been their quarterback. They're averaging over the last, since they were 6-1 this season, and I think they're averaging 24 points a game at that time, they've averaged 19 points per game. This is one of the bottom tier offenses scoring-wise in the league. People are saying, well, they're top 10 in this, and they're top 10 in that. Is that the standard we hold this offense to, Trevor? Because when we talked about this a couple weeks ago about, well, the league-wide, the offenses are down. Do we hold them to that standard, or do we hold them to a Super Bowl best head coach, quarterback, tight end duo, trio in the league? That's the standard we hold them to. So why are we trying to make justifications for their downfall, for why they're not playing to the level they're supposed to play at? This is the thing I'm trying to bring up, guys, is that these next 4 games, obviously the Chiefs need to win them. If they want the 1 seed or if they want a top 2 seed, they need to win these games. But I'm worried about their mentality and the execution of what they're going to do when they get on the field. And we know that this team's been so mentally tough throughout the years. It's the biggest reason why they've been able to bounce back, because Patrick Mahomes brought up, well, we were 6-4 at one time. We won the Super Bowl that year. That team was mentally tough, and that team could score points. Well, they started off 3-4 in 2021. That team was averaging over 30 points per game. So it's a different team. It's a different dynamic, and you can't use the same excuses, man. And so I wrote a poll here, Trevor. I know I'm going on a big tangent here, so I want to get your thoughts on Toney and Travis Kelce's thoughts. But I did a poll this week on my Twitter account at @LanceTheSpoken. I asked these people. I asked the Chiefs fans. I think this is actually still going. How many points per game will the Chiefs defense have to hold their opponents to in the postseason in order to win the Super Bowl? So far, there's been over 530 votes. 51% said that they need to hold teams to at least 17 points per game in the postseason. Here are the last 10 Super Bowl winners and their defense's points per game allowed. 2013 Seahawks, they allowed only 13 points per game. That's an historic defense. The 2014 Patriots, 21 points per game. 2015 Broncos, another historic defense, 15 points per game. 2016 Patriots, 20 points per game. 2017 Eagles, 17 points per game. 2018 Patriots, 21 points per game. The 2019 Chiefs, 25 points per game. The 2020 Buccaneers, 20 points per game. 2021 Rams, 19 points per game. And then the 2022 Chiefs, 25 points per game again. If the Chiefs are trying to get to another Super Bowl, Trevor, their defense is going to have to play like those historic defenses. They're going to have to play like the Seahawks or the 2013 Seahawks, the 2015 Broncos, or at least the 2017 Eagles. Yeah. Another awesome defense. That defense was great. And honestly, I know that was a high-scoring game against the Patriots, but Brandon Graham stripping Tom Brady is what won that game.
Right.
And they had a backup quarterback in there.
And yeah, I mean the Philly special play was
yes, that was obviously great.
Yeah.
But yeah, defensive plays are what got them there because if you remember also that Eagles team was shutting down like the Falcons and teams like that on the way to that Super Bowl. But like I said on Twitter this week, Trevor, as well, whether Travis Kelce or Kadarius Toney or any of these other guys want to admit it, we know what this offense is. This offense isn't getting any better. We have to accept it. This is what they are. We have to hope that over these next 4 games, the Chiefs' defense can get healthy, stay healthy, and can peak in the postseason. That's the only real hope of the Chiefs repeating as Super Bowl champions. Because, our producer, Clay, love him to death, but he called me and Noah from Starcade. He said that we had a loser's mentality because of the fact that we said that, we know what this offense is. That he believes, and Clay, he's an optimist, I get it. He thinks this offense can get better. Here's my thing, Trevor. Do you honestly believe that over the next 4 weeks or in the next 7, 8 weeks, whatever, how much football the Chiefs have left, that this defense is just going to fall off the table and just start playing horrific football?
Our defense?
Yes.
No.
Why?
Because they've been consistent.
We have a 13-game sample size. We know what this defense is. We know this is a top 5 defense at worst. At worst, this is a top 5 defense. So we give them the credit and the benefit of the doubt that this defense can and will stay consistent.
Well, and they've consistently shut down all the best premier receivers in the league.
So why would I think about that on the opposite end? It's the same damn principle. Why would we think, Trevor, that all of a sudden this offense is going to jump onto the table? We know what this offense is. Is it disappointing? Yes, because we know we have the best quarterback in the world here in Kansas City. Right. We know we have the best head coach in the league. We know we have the best tight end in the league. But everything else around that has been in question. Everything else. And those other things, everything else does matter in the grand scheme of things. So those other things, if we all can accept in our minds, those things are not going to get better, then it changes the mentality of this team. Okay, guys, we have to lean into our defense. Let's get this defense healthy, and let's score just enough points to squeak by in some nasty victories. Luckily for the Chiefs, Trevor, if you look at the AFC playoff picture, that can be done.
Yeah.
They can survive going 17-13, 21-17. They can win games like that. But they're going to have to change their mentality and not think this is the 2018 team, this is the 2019 team, this is the 2020 or 2021 team. This isn't those teams. This is not even the 2022 team. I don't know if you saw, Trevor, that Louis Riddick broke it down. Explosive play percentage. Last year, the Chiefs were number 1 in the league. This year, 21st. It's not the same team. We have to accept it. So going back to the very beginning of this, Trevor, I know, like I said, I said a lot, but this all needed to be really put out on Broadway, if you will. Travis Kelce's comments, then Kadarius' comments. We've heard Patrick Mahomes' comments. Where do you see this team's mentality right now off the field and then on the field? You and I both said it, and I don't want to speak for you. You can say it for yourself, but on the Chatting of the Chiefs postgame show, we both said it. Right now, this team does not look like a Super Bowl contender. We don't believe that they are because this is the biggest prove-it game of the year against the Bills. They lost this game. The Bills did not beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs literally handed that game to them. Do your concerns still stay right where they were? Do you think these comments are a little bit concerning to you, especially when they're coming from Travis Kelce and a guy like Kadarius Toney? You know this team's going to try to have to rely on going into the postseason, or do you think that these are things we're going to forget about in 4 weeks?
No, yeah, it's funny when you, as a fan, or at least fans like us, that kind of, we appreciate honesty and addressing the actual problems at hand. It's funny as a fan like that, we start to miss we just need to be better comments. You know what I mean? Like now we're getting, one guy saying this, one guy saying that, not wanting to address, dancing around the elephant in the room. And that is annoying, man, because you feel like it's intellectually dishonest. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. When the person knows the glaring problem, the glaring need, and what the problem is, and they're just not addressing it head on. But I get it, though, from Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes' perspective, and even Andy Reid to a degree. Criticizing the refs and there is validity to that as well. With this being the first time that's ever been called for Andy Reid is nuts. That's crazy. It's a crazy stat. So I understand his frustrations with that, and the poorest of timing possible with that call there. But if we just play disciplined football, that was never an issue. This is a like I said in our post game show after that game, discipline is the biggest issue on this team right now. When it comes to the skills players and ball security and things like that. So for me, man, yeah, I just wish these guys would just let this has already become such a massive topic over the past week. And I don't think it needs to be. It's really simple. We fucked up. My guy Kadarius Toney, who I love and I still believe in, fucked up again, right? Hopefully this is just a path to his growing pain to becoming a solid player for this offense, which I still believe that he can be and will be. But yeah, man, this is just not a good look, honestly, for the Chiefs. Patrick let his frustrations out, and I didn't have a problem with Patrick going off. I think we kind of needed to see that. I think he probably needed to get that out because that was lying dormant in him all year.
Yeah.
And like I talked about on the post game, that was on X, I put that out there. I think this is just we're seeing the boiling point of an elite competitor. This is a guy that's just he blew his top because he bottled so much of it up. He's a consummate pro at all times, family man at all times, holding it together, being that guy, being the nice guy when asked the tough, difficult questions, giving you the sugary version of a lot of the answers that we really want. And that was just him letting out all those frustrations on the poor timing and of the right call, unfortunately. When he really should be aiming that vitriol towards his skills players. And some people just got to be held accountable at this point. But do I see this offense getting better? Not really. I mean, we've seen this offense have good spurts and against poorer competition. The Bears game, but I mean, overall, when we're playing any kind of competent defense, it's hard for us to score. And it's not because of these defenses, honestly. It's because of us. It's because of lack of discipline once again, and red zone woes. We continue to be terrible in the red zone. You know what I mean? And turning the ball over in the red zone, settling for field goals when points need to be scored, when touchdowns need to be scored. Those have been the issues, man. Penalties, obviously, we're an extremely high penalized team. We have two of the highest penalized guys on our defense, or one of on our defense and one on our offense. With Juwan Taylor and L'Jarius Sneed, those guys combined are the two highest at their positions for sure. So a lot of mistakes, man, and they consistently are there every single week. That's the problem. But as far as what your point was about, the Chiefs needing to kind of, be these teams of the past that won, if they want to win a Super Bowl, win it this way. I don't think that's going to happen. I still think this offense is going to play like they're the offense with, they're the 2019 Chiefs offense. I think that's just Andy Reid's style. And asking Patrick Mahomes to reel it in, I think is an impossibility at this point. I think Patrick Mahomes is always going to press. I think he's always going to try to take that shot. I think he's always going to be that guy that wants to score within the first 5 plays of a drive. That's just who he is, and that's who we've loved him to be. And it's worked out when he has the horses, but we don't have those horses. And I don't know, man. I really don't know. That's why at the end of our post game last night, I made it very clear that, look, I'm not going to expect that anymore. I'm not going to expect this offense to be what it's been. I'm putting my hands up. I'm not going to stress over on Sundays. I'm not gonna, like I said, raise my blood pressure, even though I don't have high blood pressure. But I'm not going to get myself to that point. I'm not going to stress and worry about this team, being the Super Bowl champion. If they get to that point, if they win, they go on a hot run here, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. But I'm not going to stress if they don't. I have to accept this team for what it's been all year. And if that's a loser mentality, I call it realistic. But it's I'm not being cynical here. I'm still, me, bro. I'm about as positive as you get. I try to see the glass half full most times. But we have a massive sample size here of what this team's identity is, and typically teams that can't put up points and are turnover prone and lack discipline don't make it very far. Right. No matter how great a quarterback is. We've seen Peyton Manning's teams falter in the playoffs throughout his career because he had issues similar to this. Or a lot of times he had terrible defenses, obviously, as well. But his offenses were always great. But we've seen teams lack discipline either on the offensive side or defensive side, whatever it is, coaching blunders, red zone woes. You just don't win the big one with teams like that. Right. And where the Chiefs have been great, we are now not great this season. And it's a large enough sample size to claim that as the identity of this team. And that's frustrating. Can they change? Can they flip a switch? Can Mahomes go God mode? Absolutely. In spite of the dropsies, But if this defense, I think if Patrick Mahomes plays just good enough and this defense plays to the level that we know that they can and are capable of when it comes time for us to really need a win, I still believe in this team to do that. But is this offense going to flip a switch and go average 25 to 30 points a game? No, I don't see that happening.
And something I want to add before we move on here, because I don't want to take too much time on this, because I do know that there's other things we have to discuss. But one final nail in the coffin here that I have to present, because Trevor and I aren't, people try to say that I'm doom and gloom or I'm negative. Guys, what I'm trying to do here is relay the facts so we can get prepared for what this team's going to need to be, because Trevor's right. More than likely, this team is going to try to play the same style of football they've been playing for the last 5-6 years. But that's just not in the cards. So if they are serious about winning another Super Bowl, they are going to have to change their mentality on this thing. Because, guys, here's the thing about this team is that, when I'm hearing people say, because, like, again, our producer Clay and I had a nice, back and forth about this, and it was all just a good spirited debate. There's nothing bad about it. But his stance is, I believe in this offense can get better because we have Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. That's fine. But are we going to sit here and pretend as if those guys haven't been here for the last 13 games as well? Like, they were all in attendance. They all participated in those 13 games. And it didn't get better. Why do I think because of those guys it's all of a sudden going to get better? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. Like I said, the way the AFC is shaping up right now, the Chiefs might catch a massive break and maybe never having to face a great quarterback at all, because we know the Ravens have had their problems in the playoffs whenever they've made it. We know the Dolphins are not a team that look like they're a legitimate team, especially after that Titans loss. Like, those are probably the two best quarterbacks the Chiefs may face in the playoffs. If you think about it, Lamar Jackson and Tua, those might be the two best quarterbacks they could possibly face. And even if they end up facing them, I like the Chiefs' chances in those two games because of the way the teams match up. But my point is, like Trevor said, unless Patrick Mahomes decides to go God mode, which he tried multiple times in that Bills game, he just had guys drop the passes, unless things happen to where they, or line up off sides or whatever, unless that happens, guys, it's going to have to be the defense that saves it, and Patrick Mahomes just makes a couple plays here and there. It's going to be very reminiscent to the early 2000s Patriots, where the defenses were keeping offenses at bay. They faced the greatest show on turf, shut them down, and won by a field goal. Tom Brady was not good at all in that game, but a few little plays here and there won them the Super Bowl, guys. Yep. That's the point I'm trying to make here. And again, it's going to be very difficult for this defense to do it. Not that I don't think they can, but here's the thing, guys. If you, like I showed you those previous 10 Super Bowl winners and how many points per game they were giving up, guys, there was only 3 teams in the last decade that have held opponents to 17 or fewer points, and 2 of them were almost a decade ago. The 2013 Seahawks, 2015 Broncos. Those are forever, and those are historic defenses. I think this Chiefs defense is really good, but I don't consider them in the same class as the 2013 Seahawks or 2015 Broncos, so they're going to have to play above even what they've done already. And that's a lot to ask for this defense. And, people ask me, well, Lance, if the Chiefs aren't Super Bowl contenders, then who are in the AFC? Guys, we have to stop focusing on that, about who the opposition is. To me, it doesn't matter who the Chiefs would face in the playoffs, because the biggest threat to the Chiefs are themselves. Yep. They are the team that beat them. Look at the 4. I will give the Packers that win. Yeah, I'll concede that one. I'll say, you know what? The Packers
that was the most convincing win against the Chiefs.
They were the better team. They just were the better team in that game.
Outcoached even.
Yeah, I mean, they were putting clown shoes on this defense. The Chiefs' offense just continued to struggle for the majority of the game. Yes, the officials were terrible in that final drive, but like I told you guys, it should have never got to that point because the Packers and Chiefs aren't in the same tier. Yeah, the Packers just were better that night. Outside of that one loss, the other 4 losses, go look at them. The Chiefs handed those victories. Even the Broncos, even though they beat the shit out of the Chiefs by 15 points, go look at the context of that game. Yeah. Multiple turnovers in the red zone, multiple mishaps, multiple drops, several plays. The Chiefs, if they don't do that, they win the game. Yeah. They would beat the Broncos, guys.
It's like that scene from Liar Liar. I'm kicking my ass.
Exactly. That's literally that's literally it. That is literally the perfect example. Yeah. So that's my point I'm trying to make, guys. It doesn't matter if they play the Browns. It doesn't matter if they play the Ravens. Any team that makes the playoffs, they can be beat. Not because that team's going to beat them, because the Chiefs can beat themselves. They're very good at it. Look at what the Bills just did. They just sat back, scored 6 damn points in the second half, and just waited for the Chiefs to fuck up. The Bills were literally trying to hand the Chiefs the game. Yeah. On their final drive, they're throwing the ball in scoring distance. They had a field goal waiting to happen, and they could put the game on ice and just run the clock down, kick a field goal, and they win. And they didn't do it. They were throwing the ball, and then the Chiefs ended up getting the ball back, and the Chiefs still found a way to lose that game. That's the point I'm trying to make. So it isn't about who their opposition is. That's irrelevant to me. What I'm worried about is what this team's going to do for themselves or against themselves. When do they shoot themselves in the foot? How many times are they going to shoot themselves in the foot? Because if this team, even with their deficiencies on offense, can play a clean game, they can beat literally anybody because their defense is that great and Patrick Mahomes is that great. That's when you can start having that conversation about, well, I trust Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce if they play clean football. But guys, how many times have we seen that happen this year? Twice? I mean, how many games, Trevor, where you say the Chiefs played clean football? A couple of times maybe this year? I can't think of more than a couple of times.
Clean, yeah. I mean,
Bears game?
Yeah, Bears game was, it was over at halftime.
Yeah, the Chargers game, I guess. You know what I mean? Like those are games that you can really say like, oh, super efficient, but those are two of the worst defenses. You're not going to face the Chargers. You're not going to face the Bears in the playoffs.
Right.
You're going to be facing elite defenses, elite teams. So what I'm saying is, guys, get yourself mentally prepared for what could be, because I'm telling you, this should be a Super Bowl winning team, especially with the AFC looking that way. But if they can't get out of their own way, guys, this team's not making it to the Super Bowl. And I hate to be the one to say that because I picked this team to win the Super Bowl and win it handily. I had them going 15-2 this year, just for context. So I was the one that believed the Chiefs could overcome their wide receiver inefficiencies, even though I was the one that was warning everybody about it. This team hasn't. They just simply haven't done it. Oh, well, they're 8-5. Yeah, guys, that's not a great record to the standard the Chiefs are presented, because that's already the same amount of losses that Patrick Mahomes ever had in a single season, and they got 4 games to go. We'll see what happens. But I want to move, Trevor, to this Chiefs-Patriots matchup. I can't believe that I'm saying it, but for what we're talking about right now, what just led up to it, I mean, this is actually a pivotal game for the Chiefs.
Yeah, every single one down the stretch is going to be.
Even though the Patriots have lost 4 of their last 5 games, even though the Patriots have scored a grand total of, I'm checking it right now, 44 points over the last 5 games, this is a game that I'm actually legitimately worried about. Do I think the Patriots can outscore or go out there and score 24 to 27 points in this game? No.
Yeah.
But you know what's good? You know the one thing this Patriots team has? An awesome-ass defense.
Well, and a coach is on his way out. He knows it, and so much juice is going to go into that defense, bro. This defense is going to be more inspired than any week this year so far.
They're going to empty
the
bag.
And now they're playing the Chiefs, of course.
And the Sharps know it. The NFL knows it. Yeah. Dude, the over-under on this game is 37.
Right.
The Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites. I don't really know how they're getting that much credit. It started off 9.5. I'm seeing they're seeing 8.5. The only thing I can think of is that the Vegas thinks that the Chiefs defense is just going to shut down Bailey Zappi, which could happen. It could happen. My point, though, is
that's going to happen.
I'm coming into this game after this Bills loss without, like Trevor just kind of said, without that vigor, and just like, oh God, I'm coming in this game with very low expectations.
Clean slate.
Am I expecting the Chiefs to win this game? Yes. Because even though the Chiefs have their problems, they are significantly better than the Patriots.
Offensively, for sure, yeah.
But what have we learned this season, Trevor? The NFL is weird.
Yep.
We saw the Patriots just a week ago go into Pittsburgh in prime time, a Pittsburgh team that needed to win that game.
Yeah.
I think there were 7.5-point favorites. And they were losing 21-0 at one point, and the Patriots ended up winning the game 21-18, I think it was.
Did you not just watch the Aiden Stick Bowl? I mean, it was...
This league is very weird. Anybody can be had, and anybody can have a big-time game. And like Trevor just said, this is a game where I do believe that Belichick, because this could very well be the last time Belichick faces Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, man.
This could be the last time Andy Reid and Bill Belichick face off. It could be.
Yeah.
Because Bill
as AFC opponents, for sure.
But then again, Bill could end up retiring. Even though I know he's going to want to go for Shula's record.
He's petty. He wants that
get it,
bro.
But I'm saying that possibility is there. And like you said, what if he goes to the NFC?
Yeah.
And they don't face the Chiefs for 4 years?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things there. My point is, I do expect, even though the Patriots are a horrible team.
And the Chiefs tend to beat the Patriots most times. We've kind of had the number for outside of that AFC Championship game.
To me, that doesn't really matter, though, because these teams are so different. But I get what you're saying. The point is that and to that point, though, Trevor, we have seen Belichick make Patrick Mahomes really work, and that was when he had great offenses.
Yeah, man.
So this is going to be, guys, I hope you're ready, because, and I'm not trying to just cut to the chase here, I am expecting the Chiefs to win this game, but I'm hoping that you guys understand that this game's going to be ugly. This is going to be a very low-scoring, ugly game, because the Patriots are going to, what is Bill Belichick's defense is known for, Trevor? They take your best weapon away. and they make you beat them other ways.
One of your weapons. They take one of your weapons basically entirely. I mean, they've taken Tyreek out of games before. One of the few teams that ever really truly did that.
Multiple times, I might add.
So I would imagine they try to take Kelce out of this game, but it could be Rashee Rice too. You never know. Like it's going to be interesting to watch.
That's to me where this matchup is won, Trevor, because we've seen now the Rice Patty connection, where we're seeing Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice really start to click.
He's a true threat now. Yeah.
We even saw in the Bills game, even though the Chiefs did lose the game, you saw that. Now you guys know my feeling on Rashee Rice. I think his ceiling is going to be a high-end wide receiver too. I think he's a guy that you don't really build your wide receiver room around.
Dude, he could get to 1,000 yards this year.
He could. He very well could. He's got what, 780?
Yeah, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns. So Rashee Rice is doing his job.
Yep.
At way better than I expected him to. So that could be where the Chiefs win this matchup. My biggest concern, Trevor, though, is the fact that the Chiefs, their defense a lot of times has given up a lot of big chunk plays in the run game.
Yeah.
And Ezekiel Elliott is coming off a great performance. I think he had one of his best games of his career.
So annoying.
I know
I lost my fantasy league because.
But we know that a lot of times, Trevor, especially for running backs, once they start getting that rhythm, they have a couple good games here and there. We
struggle against the run too. But
my concern is that the Patriots set up the play action game again with Ezekiel Elliott. If he's getting 5-6 yards a clip to start the game off with the scripted drive, Bill O'Brien knowing he's probably on his way out, knowing that he's probably interviewing for his next job, whether it's the college ranks or whether it's at the pro level.
Yeah.
Setting up some cool, crafty plays. That's what I'm concerned about. So if the Chiefs can shut down the run game early in this one, where they don't let Zeke Elliott start getting downhill, because we know he's a downhill runner. He's a big, physical running back.
They don't let him on Bailey Zappi.
Yes, don't let him play like A.J. Dillon did a couple weeks ago with the Packers, where he was just getting whatever he wanted whenever he wanted to. If they don't let this Patriots team get in rhythm offensively, I can see the Chiefs keeping the Patriots under 10 points. But even if that happens, this offense on third downs for the Chiefs has got to move the chains. Now, it is looking like Isaiah Pacheco is not going to play.
Yeah, he's not.
So the shoulder contusion, which, by the way, I've been telling you guys, not to go off on a tangent with this, but this is what I was warning you guys about with Isaiah Pacheco. He's fun. We all love him. He's great. He's a great running back. He is. I think he's one of the 10 best running backs in this league easily. But this is how it's going to go. This is now his second surgery. Our guy, Charles Goldman, formerly from Chiefs Wire, just announced that yesterday that he had another surgery on that same shoulder. That's 2 in the last 8 months. Guys, this is how it's going to go for Pacheco. He's going to be great while he's great, but it's not going to last long. I hate to say that. I hate to be that guy. But running backs, they are a short fuse. They burn quick. So I'm expecting Isaiah Pacheco to get back at some point this year. If he doesn't play next game, I'm going to be really pissed at the Chiefs for not putting him on the IR so they can get him back for the playoffs. But I'm hoping he's back next week for the Chiefs. But it doesn't look like they're going to have him. Jerick McKinnon's not known for his running ability. We know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is very inconsistent in his career. I am very worried about how the Chiefs are going to manufacture points in this game, Trevor. I'm very worried because, like I said, this Patriots defense is going to literally empty the bag. I think they're going to do everything they can to shut down Travis Kelce. Will they? We'll find out. I'm not expecting Travis Kelce to have a monster game, though, because he usually doesn't against the Patriots defenses. And you go look at his career, he hasn't had a bunch of breakout games against the Patriots. They've done really well against him. This is going to come down to Rashee Rice and the others, and that scares the shit out of me, Trevor. I'm hoping, and we're going to get to our key players in a minute, I'm hoping this is a game where Noah Gray and Jerick McKinnon get some play, where those guys are going to get some actual targets.
The others.
The others, thank you. I think that Jerick McKinnon and Noah Gray are going to be key players in this one because we know that the tight end position is where Patrick Mahomes likes to go, and if Travis Kelce's getting a lot of look, get Noah Gray the ball. I think he's only had one game, though, where he's gotten 5 or more targets. I think this needs to be that second game.
Yeah.
I think Noah Gray needs to get involved a lot more, move the chains on third down. I think the Chiefs can win this game if they scored 16 points. And I think that's where they need to focus because I don't know if the Chiefs are going to score over 20 in this game. I just don't think that they have the firepower, especially with Belichick's genius on the defensive side, shutting down Travis Kelce or at least keeping him with like 50 to 65 yards. I think this is going to be a very ugly game. I'm giving the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt. I'm definitely hammering the under, even though the over-under is insanely low. Yeah. I'm hammering the under. I think there's no way this game goes over 37 points. I think both these defenses are going to play their asses off because the Chiefs know they need to win this game to have any hope of getting that 1 seed. and I know that's something they definitely want, and they want to start winning games and getting on a winning streak before the playoffs and start peaking at the right time. And with Tranquil back, Bolton's back, I like that duo back. The linebackers are strong.
We need Brian Cook back, man.
Yeah, he'll be. I think he'll be back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Leo Chenal was a little sick, but he'll be good. Mike Edwards, I don't know what the status is on him. I know he was questionable as well. But I think overall, this defense is as strong as it's been for about 4 weeks. I like that a lot. I think the Chiefs defense is going to play really well in this game. But I do expect this to be a game that a combined of like 28 to 30 points. I don't know what you think right now, but that's where I'm at.
Barn burner for sure. Yeah, this is it's not an exciting game, and I see why it was flexed away from Monday night because the way the Chiefs have been playing, the way the Patriots play football, it's not a fun idea to have that on a Monday night game, and I get it, and it works for me because I get to watch the game. I won't be at work. But the way I see this game going, man, it could go numerous ways. Obviously, I think it could get ugly defensively. I think the Chiefs could absolutely dominate this game defensively, maybe score a defensive touchdown. We've seen us do that plenty of times before. But I do think the Chiefs score more than 20 points in this game. I do. I think we figure out a way. I think Patrick Mahomes is driven to go right the ship a little bit offensively. I think Kadarius Toney has a game here, though. I think in knowing Andy Reid, knowing any time there's a guy that he believes in, had a blunder, and he's come to his defense for an entire week leading into this game. I think he makes it a thing to get the ball back to him and make sure he rights this ship mentally for him to get him back and re-engaged and not down on himself. That's kind of Andy Reid's style, always has been.
Yep.
When Rashee Rice fumbled the ball last week, he went right back to him the very next play and made a nice play on that. So that's just kind of the way he does things. When Kareem Hunt fumbled his first fumble ever, went right back to him, and then he had an absolute all-time game against the Patriots, of course. So, yeah, I just think I think the Chiefs do enough offensively to kind of – and I don't think Kelsey has to be a star in this game. I think we have enough guys to get in the mix. I think McKinnon could have a good game here with some catches. I think this is that time of year. Obviously, December is when he really gets it going. We've been kind of waiting on it. It hasn't really transpired yet. But it could be this week, where that happens. But I just trust, as much as I was talking about, putting my hands up the air and not stressing over this team and dropping my expectations for this team, I still think we are the far superior team to the Patriots. They might be the worst team in football this year, and the Jets exist. And other teams that,
I'd say the Panthers, but I get
the Panthers for sure. Yeah. But listen, the Panthers just fired their coach, a coach that, they didn't even listen to and or cater to what he wanted to do with his vision. There's a lot going on there. The Panthers, they pretty much don't exist in this league. They're kind of like a team that's trying to find who they are. The Patriots know who they are, and they've been something for a while, and Belichick has been who he is for a long time, and he's known for winning games, and he can't even muster up this team to win numerous games this year. So this is a dumpster fire of a team, in my opinion. Defense has held teams under in a lot of ways scoring, but they've also faced some bad offenses. They've and even in their own division, a couple teams that they faced, even with the Bills game that they won, Josh Allen had an all-time just letdown game. He was awful, and then they played the Jets, and these teams they haven't faced a lot of good offenses. And not saying that our offense is good, but we do have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I believe they'll have some things drawn up to counter what this defense brings to them. And this Patriots defense is down a lot of players. They've been down, a lot of stars for several weeks now, and they still managed to, hold their own. I get it, but I think our offense has enough to figure some things out and get the ball in the playmakers' hands and create some space and some yards after the catch. I think is going to be big for this offense in this matchup. So I think the Chiefs win pretty comfortable here. And I would definitely, if I'm betting on this game, and I have already, I'm taking because some sportsbook have it around like 7.5, 8.5, 9. I bet on an 8.5. I think we score by more than a touchdown, or win by more than a touchdown in this game, fairly comfortably. I think 10 is even possible. So I think our defense absolutely puts on a clinic in this one. We don't even have an elite receiver to worry about to shut down. We're shutting down Demario Douglas's and Juju Smith-Schuster's, and no offense to him, but he has not been great at all this year. And their tight ends have really been their best receivers. So shutting down Hunter Henry shouldn't be a tall task, honestly, for this defense. And then obviously Ezekiel Elliott having a resurgence game out of nowhere last year, which is in my mind a fluke. I think we just slow him down, his old legs down. I think this game's a wrap pretty quickly, in my personal opinion.
I hope you're right. Because like I said, I think this is a team that the Chiefs don't really want to like hang around with because of the fact they're very physical. And we know that the Chiefs have had their problems with health over the last couple of weeks. Well, last several weeks with Nick Bolton being out. But I think that this is a game where the Chiefs have opportunities here, Trevor, to really, like I said, make a statement. Because to your point, if the Chiefs offense goes out there and has a good game, then we can sit here and start talking about, well, that's a really good defense they just faced.
By a good
on
game,
the road.
you just mean efficient and no turnovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly,
And
I
20+
am
points.
focusing on the points too.
Yeah. 20+.
To me, a game like this, if the Chiefs score 24, that's a good game.
Absolutely.
Because that's 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yeah.
And we know that's more than what they're averaging for the season. If they go on the road, face a top-tier defense like the Patriots, and go out there and smack them around and put up 350 yards and 24 points that's a really good game. So I'm hoping that's the case. But I'm looking at the case study here. I'm looking at the way the Chiefs have played offense, especially against good defenses here, and they have struggled. They have struggled, and it's not because of necessarily who they're facing. It's because, like you said, Trevor, only a couple times this season have they played clean football. When they do play clean football, they're scoring over 30 points a game. In fact, against the Bears, the Chiefs they dropped 41. It was like 35, 34 and a half. Yeah. And then against the Chargers, they scored 31. They scored like 17 in the fourth quarter. So that is the way of doing it. I'm just worried that that's not going to happen, Trevor, because, again, if this game was a mismatch and Travis Kelce, we know he's going to eat because this team just gets ate up by tight ends. I would sit here and say, that more likely it's going to be Travis Kelce having a big game. Chiefs scored 24 points and it's okay and everything's good. This is going to be a game, though, Trevor, where Patrick Mahomes is going to have to trust the guys that we know he's had trouble trusting. And that is what concerns me. Yeah. It is something that I'm worried about. What could end up happening, though, is the defense plays so damn good that it doesn't really matter. Or if the Chiefs hold the Patriots to 6 points, what does it matter? The Chiefs can score, like I said, if the Chiefs score 16 in this game, I'm confident they win. I think they can win this game 16-9. Yeah. I really do. Like
this is a terrible spot for Bailey Zappi.
And I'm not trying to repeat myself. And I didn't even mention Bailey Zappi as an actual threat because I don't view him as a threat.
No, this is a terrible spot.
What I look at, though, Trevor, is just not allowing the Patriots offense to start the game feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, don't allow any rhythm.
Yes, the games the Chiefs' defense has even struggled, and I say that loosely because the defense has been so good this year. But the games like the Packers game, the Broncos game, you saw they were giving them opportunities, whether it's a bad penalty on third down or you're letting them get good run games started
early in the Raiders game.
Yes, exactly. Josh Jacobs is eating them up in the run game. It's like if you stop that, if you stifle that, you don't let them get 5, 6, 7 yards of carry. All of a sudden, Bill O'Brien's going to start calling more pass plays, and that's going to open up things for the secondary to start blitzing, to turn the ball over, get forced fumbles, picks, things like that. That's going to have to start at the beginning, though. Because I know the Chiefs like to defer the ball more times than not, which means they're going to try to put the Patriots offense up first. The home crowd's going to be ready to rejoice and get things going. You know this is a game where the Patriots are playing with house money because, like you said, Belichick, it's been confirmed, is on his way out. So these players know the legacy this man carries. They want to go out there and win a big game. You know how big this would be for them?
Oh, for sure.
It'd be monumental.
Yeah.
Because this is the biggest game probably left on their schedule. I haven't checked. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'd imagine the Chiefs are the Super Bowl for pretty much everybody. And if Belichick knows that I can get my guys to rally around me and I can get that much closer to Don Shula's record, which I think is 24 away, this is a big opportunity for the Patriots to make a statement because I don't think they're getting the first overall pick. I think that's going to be the Bears because the Bears have the Panthers pick, and I think that's what's going to happen. But I do think, though, that this team is coming into this game expecting to get some momentum going. And if they get that early and get some belief in themselves, that's going to make this game, unfortunately, close. But if the defense, Trevor, can go out there, sack Bailey Zappi on his first pass attempt, or shut down Ezekiel on a two-yard loss, and then it's 3rd and 14, they have to, a 2-yard gain, they have to punt, then we're talking business here. Then we're talking about, okay, Chiefs, go and score a fucking touchdown, be up 7-0. The end of the half, it's 10-0. It's 10-3.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi's chasing points. And it's gonna be a good day.
That's what needs to happen in this game, dude. Like they got to go out there and strike first. Go out there and implement for once, man. Like go out there. I'm so sick. The last 3 weeks, the Chiefs have started the game trailing.
Yeah,
it's so obnoxious, man. Like the defense is. This is what pissed me off, Trevor. Is that if the defense isn't great, it looks like the Chiefs are lost. But in games where the defense is getting the opposing offense off the field immediately, it's like, oh, The Chiefs look like they can handle everything. They're immortal. But if the defense is giving up 14 points at a time, back to back, it's like the Chiefs can't find a way to get out of their own way after that. It's like they start to panic. And then the defense locks down, like the Bills giving up 6 points for the entire second half. The Chiefs still can't capitalize. Yeah. That can't be, again, what happens in this one, Trevor. And I'd love to sit here and say that the Patriots can't score points. But again, just a week ago in primetime in Pittsburgh, they go in there and score 21 unanswered points. Bailey Zappi was putting the ball on the money. The Steelers aren't a bad defense. They're not a great defense. They're a good defense. Top 16 defense.
Yeah.
With T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, they have playmakers, and they still were out there getting shredded.
I will
Chiefs
say
cannot allow that to happen.
Most of that production was all like in a quarter and a half.
Exactly.
But this in the second half,
and it was the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
But the Steelers basically shut them down that next half, but still lost. But
right.
I mean, yeah. But that offense of the Steelers is absolutely putrid, man. And poor decisions made, honestly, in the play calling there in that game. But yeah, the Chiefs can't. They're either the worst. They go on a streak where they're the worst offense in the second half. And they're fairly good in the first half, and now it's flipped lately. We're allowing more points from the opposition to go ahead and get a lead to where we're chasing points, and we actually have to score points in the second half. So now we're scoring points in the second half fairly well because we have to chase points. So it feels like when the defense needs to stop and we absolutely have to have it, they tend to accomplish that. And when the offense has to score points and we feel like we have to score points, we tend to do that. Why can't we just feel like we have to go get a win and just go get a win and be a good unit all the way around? Right. It's frustrating as a Chiefs fan to sit here and guess who's going to be what and how are we going to get our points offensively, and is our defense going to be there? And if our defense is there, can our offense also compensate that and return the favor on that? So it's one or the other every week. If we can put together an entire game plan on both sides of the ball, that'd be great.
Well, and in their last 4 games, the Chiefs have been outscored in the first quarter 28-10. Now, that's not horrible on the defensive side. That's only 7 points the first quarter. So that's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. The point is that's not something that you can't overcome, and that's a problem that the team has right now on their shoulders. That they're giving up early leads now. Like I said, the defense is still awesome, but they have lost a little steam. Yeah. Where they've given up opening drive touchdowns on multiple occasions.
We've been without some bodies that are pretty important.
Right,
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But now that they're getting healthier, I do think that's going to start to change. I do think that they're going to start to play better, more efficient football because they have the 2 best linebackers back. I do think they're going to get better at tackling because Nick Bolton's just a better tackler than a lot of guys. Drew Tranquill is going to be able to be out there and float around. I think Trent McDuffie's going to continue to do his thing. L'Jarius Sneed, I think, is going to shut down whoever the hell the wide receiver 1 is for the Patriots this year. I know Juju's out there, and I love Juju, but clearly he's not had a great season because he had horrific quarterback play, and he's been dealing with that knee injury. I think that this defense is going to do their job.
Yeah.
My point, though, Trevor, is that the offense can't go out there and have a terrible game. Go out there, play efficient football, play clean, and if you can, like I said, get to 16 points, I definitely think this team wins this game. That's where I stand on it. I know that's where you stand on it as well. I know you're a little more optimistic on the offense.
Yeah.
I respect it. I'm just going to have to see one of these others really step up. Hopefully, Louis Riddick predicted that Rushy has 10 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more of like a 6-catch, 88 yards, and a touchdown kind of game for Rushy.
I think we get a little gimmicky here. I think Andy Reid draws some things up, and this is why I like Kadarius Toney in this game.
I like that. Okay, so let's segue then. Yep. Let's get to key players, Sherry. 2 key players of this game for the Chiefs.
I mean, obviously Mahomes. I'm just going to use that as the staple of this conversation because we need to see Mahomes go out there and just kind of have that game against a good defense. See if he can put that together. We need some spark. We need, if he wants to use that energy that he had coming off this into this game from last week, all those frustrations. I would love him to just vent all those frustrations into an offensive juggernaut kind of game. That'd be fun. Probably not going to happen, but that'd be fun. I just want to throw that out there. But my guy is Kadarius Toney in this game. Andy Reid style. I think Kadarius Toney has been looking good as of late. We've been getting him more involved, and he's very good with the ball in his hands, man. I will agree with Travis Kelce on that point. He is one of the most deadly guys on this offense with the ball in his hands. We know he can make guys miss. We know he is a very gifted athlete. So I think getting him the ball more makes sense. It was rough to watch that last week. That was a pre-snap lack of discipline issue on his end. And I expect that to be cleaned up. But as far as X's and O's and what he can do with the ball in his hands is very impressive. And I think Andy Reid makes it a note to get him the ball more in this game. And I think there's going to be some gimmicky things, whether it's him on an end around or a jet sweep or some running plays, some Debo kind of plays for him. Getting the ball out quick to him, let him create. I think we'll see some of that this week. And I think Kadarius has a solid game heading in this one. Defensively, I don't know, man. I mean, I think this unit's going to be incredible. I think our defense is going to be incredible as a whole. But I think Chris Jones has been kind of silent the last couple games, man, and I think this is a game where Chris Jones needs to go just unleash hell on Bailey Zappi and make his day a living hell. This has to be a game where this defensive line just really gets after him. Because once you saw the Steelers doing in that second half, Bailey Zappi didn't do shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he didn't score those points in that first quarter and a half in that game, the Steelers probably would have found a way to win that one. They just put themselves in a hole, and that offense isn't good enough to dig himself out. But if you put pressure on Bailey Zappi, he's going to crumble. It's Bailey Zappi, for Christ's sake. So I think Chris Jones and this defensive line in general, even guys, like Derek Nottie, stuff in the run, getting, things like that, getting this defensive line, this unit really, really going and getting some pressure on this kid. That's how you win this game, in my mind. I mean, we can go put up 20-plus points, but if this defense isn't doing its job, it's going to be a long day, and that's what's going to create a stressful environment because we do, as far as expectations go, into each week, we do expect this defense to be really good and play like a top unit that we know that it is, and getting guys back now, getting Tranquil back in the mix with Bolton, having those play callers out there, the green dots, the leaders of this defense, the guys that are getting guys in position and communicating. That's huge for this matchup here. So I expect this defense to be great, and I think it starts with the big dog, the pillar player, and Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones needs to go out there and get himself a couple sacks.
I like him. I wasn't gonna mention him, but I do want to make mention that the Chiefs just made the announcement that Justin Ross will be inactive for this game.
Yeah, I didn't expect much.
I wasn't expecting much in the game, but I would like to see him kind of get utilized a little bit more because of the fact that this offense could really use just a spark, anything. And now that he's able to play, I would have liked it if he was given an opportunity, but I guess the Chiefs see things a little bit differently, but that's just me, I guess. But I said it again. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again, Trevor. I do believe that Travis Kelce's not going to have a monumental game in this one. I think the Patriots are going to do everything in their power to keep him at bay. I do think he'll probably get like 4 or 5 catches. He'll probably have 55, 60 yards, probably a decent game. Probably won't get a touchdown. We'll see if they do anything in the red zone this time around. But I do think that this could be a game of opportunity for Noah Gray. A lot of people like Noah. People forget, though, he's only got 246 yards on the season, which isn't terrible, but it's not great. I would like to see this be a game, Trevor, where he gets 4 or 5 catches and gets an opportunity to make something happen. And for me, it's the biggest thing is on third down. If it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, Noah Gray run those little dig routes, little inside dig routes, and he just could, move the chains. If he can just do stuff like that, I'm not expecting a monster game. Just be a guy that can help move the chains, get into the red zone, get Harrison Butker in position to kick field goals, because I think this could be a game where Butker gets 3 or 4 field goals. And so I definitely expect Noah Gray to be a guy, if Travis Kelce's getting locked up, utilize the tight end position, get that 6'5" body out there and try to get some 50-50 balls over those cornerbacks of the Patriots. I like Noah Gray in this one as an X factor. I think he could play his role in this one on the offensive side.
That means Blake Bell's going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, because that's just how things work. On the defensive side of things, man, I do think it's going to be the guys in the trenches. I do agree with you. But I'm gonna kind of throw it in a wrench in this one. I think that this is gonna be a game where George Karlaftis is gonna have to make some noise in the backfield because I am afraid, Trevor, and I'm just being real, because the Chiefs are a bottom 10 rush defense in the league.
We're 20. I think we're 20th.
Yeah, so bottom 12. Okay.
Yeah.
I am afraid that Zeke Elliott's going to get some chunk plays early in the game. I think the Patriots are going to try to establish the run game, slow it down, muddy it up, and try to get him utilized, which means that Bailey Zappi is going to get pass attempts in this one. I think that Bailey Zappi is going to get north of 25 pass attempts, and I think that you're going to see that they're going to need to get adequate pressure. And I do believe that because the Patriots have had some struggles at their tackle position, I do think that you're going to see George Karlaftis get in the backfield and wreak some havoc. And I think George last week had a really good game, even though we're not talking about it because of what happened and how they lost. But George actually had a really good game. I think he's going to have another really good game in this one as well.
Yep.
And I think that you could see him either get a sack or at least a few pressures, and he's going to make some determining factors of what happens in this one and force Bailey Zappi to make some quick throws. And when Bailey Zappi has to make quick throws as a backup, what do we know? These guys make mistakes. I like George Karlaftis in this matchup. I think he's going to be the one that makes the big plays. I do know Spags is going to try to run some stunt blitzes. That's fine. Maybe McDuffie does it because he always fucking does.
Yeah.
But I think that Karlaftis is my vote for this week. So I got Noah Gray and I got George Karlaftis. You had, who was it again?
For defense?
Or for your guys, period.
Oh, so Kadarius Toney and Chris Jones.
Okay, cool. So we're kind of all over the board, but Trevor and I both have guys in the receiving department that can make some headway in this one. I think that's what's going to be, and it's never wrong to pick Chris Jones or George Karlaftis to be the key factors in a game because more times than not they will be. Let us know what you guys have as your key players, how you see this game going, because now we need to segue to another section of this show. It's called Speak It, where we give you guys the floor. We give you guys the opportunity to take over the show for an entire segment. Get your questions in, as we've been asking you guys all show long. Let us know what you guys have going on. Trevor, what are the people saying in Speak It? All
right, so it's been pretty active today. Brian Parrott is our first 4 questions. Our guy Brian's always in the chat and being active and getting people to like the video, so I appreciate you, Brian.
Absolutely.
Brian Parrott's first question is, do y'all think Embry is done here?
I don't know if – here's my thing. If he is, I don't really know if it really is going to matter.
Right.
I don't think that anything that's really happened this season is really on Embry, to be honest with you guys. Do I think he's done enough to keep his job? No, not really, because I don't see an impressive wide receiver room. But the problem is, I think he was set up for failure, as I told you guys weeks ago when we started talking about the attacks that Connor Embry started to receive. I'm like, how many wide receiver coaches could come into Kansas City right now and make really any true difference than what's going on right now? Like, do you guys really believe the wide receiver coach is that valuable to where that's the difference in this offense being the way it is? I mean, that goes up the chain, too, with Matt Nagy. People think that the difference in this offense is the difference between EB and Matt Nagy. That's ridiculous because we saw this offense struggle many times throughout the years with much better players when Eric Bieniemy was supposedly running the show, which they don't. OCs in this offense don't run the show. Andy Reid does. So that's why I'm not going to blame the wide receiver coach, because I know this offense is predicated on what Andy Reid wants and what Andy Reid does.
Gotcha. Next question. Who are the Chargers and Patriots looking at, assuming they are ditching their coaches?
Well, okay, so the Patriots one's actually more intriguing to me because I do think Bob Kraft would be a guy that's willing to spend. I think he'd be a guy that's willing to go and get somebody that has a big name that can come in there and change the culture, or maybe not change the culture, but bring back the culture of winning that the Patriots are accustomed to. So I do believe that there's a better chance, Trevor, in my opinion, there's a better chance the Patriots get a big name coach than the Chargers. Biggest reason why? It's more attractive. I get it. The Chargers are in L.A. Outside of that, there's nothing, Trevor, because look, they have Justin Herbert, but that guy, we don't know what Justin Herbert is as a winner right now. We don't know. He's a good quarterback, but we've seen him get progressively worse with Kellen Moore, who's supposedly this offensive wizard.
And they're in cap hell.
Thank you. Yeah. $45 million over the cap right now going into 2024.
Yeah.
They have a real problem. They're gonna have to cut Khalil Mack.
They have old receivers.
Yes, they're gonna have to probably either restructure significantly or let go of Keenan Allen. Yeah. They're not bringing back Austin Eckler. So there's all these pieces that are just gonna be gone, and their draft picks have been terrible. Quentin Johnston has been the worst receiver of that class.
He's been bad.
He's been horrible.
They don't know how to draft receivers, though. And they made the last best receiver they
Mike
drafted.
Mike Williams, he's always hurt.
Did they draft him?
I'm pretty sure they drafted him like 2016 or whatever it was. Yeah. The point is, they are always hurt. They're too expensive on both sides of the ball. They have nothing going for them, and they're in Patrick Mahomes' division.
Yeah.
So, to me, and here's the biggest thing. I totally left this out. The Spanos family are cheap.
Yeah.
They don't ever spend on head coach. Why do I think? I mean, just take a guesstimation, Trevor. How much is it going to cost to get Bill Belichick?
Shit.
18 to 20 million a year? Because what did Sean Payton just get?
Is he going to want? He's going to want GM powers too.
I'm
right?
sure.
Yeah.
So he's going to want roster control, and who's going to want a 72-year-old man to come in there and try to run their franchise?
Yeah.
And you're spending $20+ million on this man a year because Sean Payton just got that. You know Belichick's going to demand that. He's changing coasts. He's changing his life.
Yeah.
He has 6 Super Bowls to his credit. So the Spanos aren't paying for him. They're not paying for Jim Harbaugh. You know how much it's going to cost to get Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan? They're not getting those big names. There's a much better chance. I think what's going to end up happening, Trevor, I think the Chargers are going to get Dan Quinn. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Dan Quinn is going to end up the DC for the Cowboys. I think he's going to be the head coach of the Chargers.
Another defensive-minded coach for Herbert.
I know. But here's the thing. The Spanos, why am I going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to make the right choice? And not that Dan Quinn sucks.
He's not
I like Dan
coach,
Quinn.
Though.
But, huh?
He wasn't the best head coach. He
did go to the Super Bowl.
One solid season.
Yeah. He did. He went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we'll give him credit there. But he also had Kyle Shanahan as his OC.
That's what I'm saying. And prime Matt Ryan. And Julio Jones.
Michael Turner, guys like
right.
that. So I don't expect them to get one of the heavy hitters. I do think the Patriots could, though. Because, like I said, Bob Kraft can unleash the purse. They're going to have a really nice draft pick.
I think Vrabel makes a lot of sense.
Patriots can get Drake May.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can go and get a nice quarterback, and then and somebody would want to come here and establish themselves in New England. And to be honest with you, I know the Dolphins are good right now. I know the Bills are good right now, but the Bills are about to go into cap hell.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, we don't know what the long-term are they going to sign to a long-term? Tyreek Hill's going to be 30 next year.
Yeah.
So the Patriots, they could be looking at it like, hey, we get our coach.
I think a blank slate destination is more attractive to a coach than it is like a cap hell, but has a really good quarterback situation.
Yeah. Get it?
What is the most in the LA market?
Yes,
dude, that's a lot of pressure, bro.
But what's the most ideal situation for an incoming head coach? You get a rookie quarterback that has promise on a rookie deal, in a winnable division.
Yeah,
like the AFC East is going to be winnable. So
yeah.
I do think there's a better chance a Jim Harbaugh or a coach of that magnitude would go to New England than they would go to LA Chargers. I really do believe that.
We don't think. I mean, the Bills will probably hang on for a little bit, but who knows what's going to happen after Stephon Diggs is possibly gone. The moves they're going to make. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers probably play a couple more years there if possible. Who knows how great they're going to be? And the Dolphins, no one believes this Dolphins team is going to last.
No, because
like we're all being honest.
Are they paying Tua or not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of changes are going to happen in that division. I think a blank slate of being, and then obviously New England always finds a way to be competitive, and you know, I think if they get to go get like a Vrabel or somebody as the head coach, I think that's a great spot. Vrabel's already loved over there. You know, he's been honored, and he's been, you know, I think he's in the Ring of Honor over there or whatever, in their personal Hall of Fame for the Patriots. So, yeah, man, I think both destinations have their pros and cons, but I definitely think the blank slate of the Patriots and what they could be, and a coach can come over there and entirely make it his own thing, is attractive. But also having a true gunslinging talent like a Herbert is very attractive as well in the LA market. The LA market, that's the thing that concerned me about Belichick going to LA. Is like, is he an LA guy? Do you think him going to LA makes a lot of sense? I don't feel like it's a good fit.
Yeah.
I
don't think that's happening, just for the record.
Yeah.
I think if they were ever to get one of the big hitters, it would probably end up being Jim Harbaugh. Because I don't think the Spanos family could digest Belichick.
Yeah.
I don't think that would work. Because Belichick would want all that power, and the Spanos family, when I say Spanos family, guys, I mean they literally have like 10, 15 people involved in their ownership committee. So I don't think that they're going to want to have a guy like that, this juggernaut personality that's going to come in there and try to be the guy. And quite frankly, to Jim Harbaugh's credit, he's the same way. He's an alpha. He's this dude that wants to run the show, which I get.
Yeah.
These guys have had success. Jim Harbaugh has the highest winning percentage in NFL history, and Bill Belichick has the most Super Bowls in NFL history. So yes, these guys would be heavy hitters. I just don't think the Spanos family could withstand that. I don't think they're going to the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to end up getting, like I said, a Dan Quinn or a Ben Johnson from the Lions, maybe an offensive coordinator like that. I don't think they're getting one of these big-time hitters. And quite frankly, if I'm the Chargers, I wouldn't want to go and get one of those guys because they're going to be too damn expensive, and I just don't think they're going to be that much of a difference maker. I don't think Jim Harbaugh, and I love Jim Harbaugh. I think dude's awesome.
Yeah,
I think he would actually be a better fit than Belichick.
I love the Harbaugh.
But he's a defensive-minded head coach as well, Trevor. So if you're trying to avoid that, then go get Ben Johnson. Go get him from the Lions.
I think Ben Johnson's the best.
You go get him.
Best one out there.
But even with that, now, you know what? I keep going in circles here, but Trevor, Kellen Moore was brought to LA to be this wizard to change up, to better Herbert, and Herbert just has his worst season.
Yeah.
So there could be a Herbert problem too. I like Herbert a lot, Trevor. He's a top 10 quarterback, but he's going to be 26 next season.
Yeah.
Do we have any belief that this guy's going to be a winner in this league? Yeah. I've been saying it for years.
Well, in seasons like this only hurt his mentality too, man.
Right.
More and more. I mean, I think Kellen Moore another year as him in the OC, it makes a lot of sense for them to take another step forward. But they got problems offensively too. I mean, Eckler's on his way out. Kenny Allen is another year older. I mean,
if I was Ben Johnson, just to put that name back out there, if I was Ben Johnson, I'd rather go to New England because I could get my quarterback who's on a rookie deal for 5 years.
Yeah, make it your own entirely.
Yes, and just build my roster as opposed to the Chargers in Patrick Mahomes' division.
Right, and hoping that Herbert can outplay Patrick Mahomes at some point in his career because we know that ain't happening.
Yeah, good luck. Dude, and let's not forget, and I know this is outside of football, Trevor, you know that California has a 13.5% state tax.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
And you're sharing a stadium. Does Belichick want to go share a stadium with somebody? I don't know, man. I just feel like he's an LA guy. Not saying that it's a market issue. Obviously, New England's a big market too.
But I just don't think it's.
It is attractive, but is he? I don't know. It just doesn't feel like Belichick's an LA kind of. I don't know.
I kind of feel like it's going to be the Commanders.
I love that. I love that. I think it's a great fit for him.
Did you hear Nick Wright's take? He thinks it could be the Bucs.
That would be hilarious.
How ironic would that be?
That would be hilarious.
Because it's a defensive culture there.
Yeah.
He has Baker Mayfield as his quarterback just for another year. You can draft your guy. You know what I mean? And
Belichick, good defensive team.
They would give him full autonomy. You know what I mean? He could run that team. I think it's going to be the Commanders, personally.
Yeah.
I would like to see Bieniemy get his shot, but I think there's actually a chance if Eberflus gets fired in Chicago, I think Chicago will get Eric Bieniemy. Because Ryan Poles is their GM.
I love that.
That's where we wanted him to go
Kansas before, remember? We wanted him to go there before.
Ryan Poles is their new GM. He didn't hire Eberflus. If he fires Eberflus, you bring in Eric Bieniemy, you draft your quarterback or keep Justin Fields either way.
I think he would be great for Justin Fields. I think that'd be a great fit.
I think Airbnb would be great for any quarterback.
Dude, they can go get Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
That would be Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore with Justin Fields. That's a start, dude. And that defense has been coming alive these last few weeks. That defense has been looking really good, and I think EB would. That's a really good point. I think that's a great fit. Brian Parrott. Next question: is Isaiah Pacheco out? Yes, I believe it's been confirmed. I think he's already.
I think it's been all but confirmed.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
They're talking about he's going to be most likely available next week.
He's not going to. He hasn't practiced. So if he didn't practice all of last week, didn't play. He didn't practice this week. He's not playing.
Yeah. Next one this is an easy one as well. Is Ross getting involved this week? He just was deemed out as well.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I do want to state too. It just came out. It's nothing's been numbers wise confirmed yet, but the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are both being fined by the league for their comments. So we all kind of saw that coming.
Probably be like $15,000, $20,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs will probably write a check.
Right.
Clark got to probably write the check.
Put it on my tab.
Yeah.
Next question is from Starcade Media.
Nice.
Sky Moore talked about a lack of focus in the wide receiver room. The problem? He said that the other week. In the week 1 loss to the Lions, and it's still a problem in week 14.
That's right. That's why I said from the top of the show, and I'm so glad you guys brought that up about Sky Moore and what he said.
Yeah.
The only thing I pay attention to when it comes to anything these guys say is when they're not taking accountability for their problems.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you can get I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I hate listening to Patrick Mahomes' interviews because they're always canned responses.
Coach speak, yeah.
Exactly. So there's nothing you're gonna get from it. But if Patrick was to come on the show one time and say, "Yeah, I just don't like the way the wide receivers are playing," I'd be like, "Wait, what?" Like that would shake things.
Oh, because he would, if he publicly shamed us, that would hurt all their egos, and they could probably turn on him and play. And
that's
worse.
why his leadership is is what it is. But when Sky, see, that's what I'm saying. You have your hierarchy.
You have to do.
You have your Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's that will take the brunt of everything. They'll fall on the sword, or they'll create a distraction from the players. But when the players are asked the questions, when Kadarius Toney, MVS, and Sky Moore ask questions, especially when we all know deep down, them included, know they're the problem, they can just simply go, I need to start playing better football. Not, hey, we'll clean it up.
Yeah.
We're working through things. No, you need to say, I need to play better.
Yeah.
Because then what will happen, Trevor, a chain reaction will happen where you're actually making Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes look better too because they got your back. Have their back by saying that because then the Travis Kelce will be asked, well, I don't know if you heard, man, but Sky Moore was talking about how he needs to play better. That's my dog, man. You know, that dude, he knows I ride with him. I love that dude. You know, and it starts to feel better. You know what doesn't feel better? When those guys up to the top are falling on the sword every damn week and then these guys are sitting there acting like they don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Or well, that ref never... Dude, stop talking about the refs. Talk about what you're not doing. Talk about why you're not lining up on sides.
Don't put the ref in the position to make that call.
Stop. Exactly. Stop. Why? I hate the fact that we're still sitting here talking about the refs.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about the Packers game, I'll let you do that because I hated what happened at the end of that game. But even with that, the Chiefs left all that meat on the bone to where it had to come down to that. When this game happened against the Bills, there's no reason in the world that should have happened. It'd been one thing, Trevor, if Carl Sheffers and his crew called Kadarius Toney as offside when he wasn't offsides.
Yeah.
He was legitimately offsides. So own up, dude. Quit calling it bogus. Sky Moore saying what he's saying. Quit trying to find excuses or reasons. Own up.
Well, yeah, and if you can read between the lines of what these guys keep saying on a weekly basis and Sky Moore's comments about not being focused, if you really think that it's acceptable or digestible to Chiefs fans to hear in Week 14 receivers talking about not being focused, if you're not focused, you're done.
Yeah,
and I'm saying if you read between the lines on when they're saying focused, they're talking about discipline.
You heard Justin Watson.
Disciplined.
Did you not hear Justin Watson's comments? Talking about, yeah, we've been really breaking down game film.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're doing that now? Wow. I thought maybe for the past 25 weeks you were doing that. Yeah. It's really good to hear that you guys are in the game film. Really diving deep now.
I'm watching all of our
good
drops.
to hear.
Yeah. I'm at a loss, man. Don't tell me. Don't talk about focus. Just be disciplined and go do your job. Otherwise, you're done, and we're done because of the dropsies.
Jesus.
Facebook user, I'm not sure what your name is, but I'm going to go ahead and put you out here. Frustration boils over for Mahomes. He takes the blame, but it's the whole team at fault. What happened to the skills once displayed by our players? Harder and stricter practices? Something isn't clicking, and they need to get to the bottom of it if possible. Maybe switch up the playbook at this point. Can we get some real officials to call the games?
Okay, first of all, I'll answer the last part first.
Yeah.
Yes, the NFL has an officiating problem. No, they're not the reason why the Chiefs are losing games. Can we stop this, please?
Yeah.
The officials have not cost the Chiefs one single game this season. The Chiefs have 5 losses, and all 5 losses are on the Chiefs. This is coming from me. Trevor, you know how much I shit on officiating. They have not cost the Chiefs once this season. Have they cost the Chiefs in the past? Yes. I think the reason why the Chiefs didn't go to the Super Bowl in 2018 was because of officiating, even with D Ford lining up offsides. That game was horrifically officiated. Horrifically officiated. That personal foul call roughing the passer on Chris Jones was atrocious. There was the no-catch Chris Hogan, the ball's on the fucking ground, they gave him the completion.
Right.
Like, there were several bad instances in that game, and we've seen it throughout time. Almost losing to the Raiders last year when Derek Carr had the ball stripped from Chris Jones. Chris Jones landed on him when he had the fucking ball. They called that roughing the passer. There have been terrible times and instances, guys, and we can talk about them. This season, it's not been the case. And when it comes to stricter practices or harder practices, guys, you can practice. Trevor and I can go out right now and practice with the Chiefs and practice until we puke our brains out. We're not becoming all-pro receivers because it's not in us, especially me.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm trying to make here. The reason why this season is the way it is, guys, is because of the decisions the Chiefs made at the top. What Brett Veach did. I don't want to be the one who has to keep bringing it up because I know you guys are sick of me talking about it, but the fact that they sat on their hands multiple times over the last 6-7 months in developing the wide receiver room is why they are where they're at. Look at Travis Kelce. Look at Patrick Mahomes. They're still putting up good numbers. Travis Kelce's going to have his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season. He's 104 yards away. Patrick Mahomes is going to have another 4,000-yard season and 30-plus touchdowns. That's an all-pro year in most seasons. In fact, Peyton Manning won multiple MVPs putting up those numbers in his career. So those guys are doing their jobs. What's the difference? What's the true difference from this year to the next? Or from last year to this year?
Right.
The lack of wide receivers, lack of difference makers, lack of playmakers. Like I said earlier in the show, last season the Chiefs were number 1 in the league in explosive play percentage. They were number 1 in the league in 20-plus yard plays. This season, 21st. That's the difference. It isn't the way they're coaching practice. It isn't the officiating. It's this team and how they were built, guys. You build a Frankenstein, you can't get mad when they're turned into a monster. You created a monster. That's how it goes.
Indeed. John Harrison. Patriots are the lowest scoring team. 13 games in 13 games. Turnovers will determine who wins this game. Chiefs are -7. Pats -9. Chiefs keep the ball. It'll probably still be a low-scoring game, 20-10.
100% agree, John. And I'll be honest with you, John, I think you're even being optimistic with the 20 points. Because right now this offense, they can't score enough points to get me to where I start paying attention and respecting the offense consistently. Can they move the ball? Yeah. Because they have a great quarterback. You're going to move the ball. That's how it goes. Even with dropsies, you're going to still move the ball over the field because he will find open guys that will catch the pass. They'll get yak yards, and guys like Rashee Rice are emerging. Travis Kelce still being great. You're going to move the ball, but getting touchdowns, that is a legitimate concern, and you're right about the turnovers. That's why Trevor and I said they play a clean game in this one. They're going to win this game. If the Chiefs have no turnovers in this game, they will win this game by 7-plus points because they're just that much better than the Patriots. It always comes down to whether the Chiefs are going to beat themselves or not. Yeah, that's the whole point.
The Raiders just scored 60-plus, so can we get a third of that, please? Shaggy Shane, our guy.
Yep.
God forbid the Chiefs lose tomorrow and the Broncos win tonight. Who owns the tiebreaker between Denver and KC?
That'd be KC still.
Yeah.
Because the conference record and division record, I think the Chiefs would still have the advantage. But
barely. But
the fact that we're even sitting here having this talk,
it's crazy, man.
Is insane.
Denver's been on a roll.
The Broncos started what, 1-5 this season?
Yeah.
I mean, my God, man.
They were looking like the worst team in football after the first couple of weeks, and then getting 70 burger put on them. That was. I mean, give it to Coach Sean Payton, man. He's coached his ass off, dude. He should be coach of the year.
I think he is coach of the year candidate.
If they make the playoffs, he should be, for sure.
Dude, yes.
Because Denver's looking like they're going to make the playoffs.
Right now, I know this might sound weird, but I think that if the Vikings make the playoffs, I'm giving it to Kevin O'Connell.
I don't think they do.
No, I'm saying if they do, though.
Yeah.
If they end up making the playoffs, because they've had 4 different quarterbacks play.
I still would give it to Sean Payton because the AFC is much more competitive in my mind. It's
sure,
way more of a tight.
4 different quarterbacks starting for your team, and you still make the playoffs.
That's true. And without your best player for most of the year,
Justin Jefferson's missed like 9 games.
That's
yeah,
true.
You know what I mean.
And the Broncos defense has been really good for the past like 8 weeks.
But no, I God forbid is correct, Shane, on this one because that's why I said unfortunately this game is like a pivotal game. Like it actually is like really matters.
Every game down the stretch is a must-win game for the Chiefs, man. If we want that 1 seed to have any kind of shot, or at least to getting to the 2nd seed,
right?
So things have been breaking our way already, so we got to capitalize. Enrique on YouTube, looking at the number of snaps, I wonder if MVS and Sky have already been quote unquote half benched.
Yes. So last week we saw that Rashee Rice led the team in snaps. MVS's and Sky Moore's snaps have been going down. The problem though is that they still, in my opinion, this is my theory. Andy Reid is still in some sense trying to justify those guys because MVS is the highest paid receiver. And Sky Moore is one of their highest drafted receivers they've drafted in a long time.
Right.
So they're still trying to like justify having those guys on this team.
Yeah.
If it was my opinion, Trevor, I would cut MVS right now.
Yeah.
He would save the Chiefs.
$2.5 million.
Yeah, $2.5 million.
Yeah.
He'd save them $2.5 million. I'd rather. We talked about this last week. I'd rather keep the $2.5 million. Let MVS go because he's literally Trevor. He's literally doing what you and I could do. And I know that sounds disrespectful. I don't give a shit.
He's faster,
I could literally go out, way faster, way more athletic, way more handsome, all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I could literally go out there and run the same snaps and be just as effective as he is. Because that's what he's doing. He's not contributing to the team. Sky Moore is not contributing to the team. So I do think they're getting benched in a pseudo way, but not in the way that they actually need to be. MVS needs to stay on the bench and not move. Sky Moore needs to stay on the bench and not move. Those guys do not need to be on the field because they literally bring nothing to this offense.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing, Trevor, if Sky Moore started the season off hot and has been cold for like a month, and we could sit here and go, yeah, he's not playing well, but you know what? We saw him do it. He can get back to it. I understand why Andrew Reid's keeping him out there. MVS, if he started playing better as the season progressed, Trevor, he started showing us some glimpses of good football. Yeah, let's say he caught that pass against the Eagles. Even with the season he's had, if he caught that pass, I could give him some justification, some leeway. But like, you know what? Motherfucker caught the best catch of the season.
A must-win game.
Beat the Eagles. You know, the Chiefs are sitting here now 8-4, even if they lose to the Bills. They're sitting here at 9-4, sorry. 9-4 against the, they beat the Eagles in a big Monday Night Football game. MVS made the catch of the game. He's getting interviewed. Travis Kelce's coming around him, when they're interviewing him. There's this good feeling around this team. He didn't. He dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
So that's why these guys need to be able to. Andy Reid has to stop worrying about having such good relationships with these guys. I know that's me, talking, trying to tell him how to be a coach when he knows how to do this shit.
He's a player's coach, yeah. That's been his style.
But enough's enough.
Yeah.
Enough's enough. Stop half benching guys, as our dude Enrique said.
He's the Bob Sutton of the wide receiver room. Next question from our guy James T. Kirk on YouTube. Switching up a little bit, going NBA here. Okay.
Yeah.
The Lakers won the in-season tournament. Is that a big deal? And is it banner waving worthy? I mean, of course it is. It feels like it's not important right now because this is the first time this has occurred. This is the first time it's done it. And it's LeBron James that won it, so everyone wants to try to, make it seem like it's not a big deal because LeBron won something. Oh, big deal.
Bingo.
We're downplaying because LeBron won it.
Bingo.
Let's be very honest.
Bingo.
And shout out to my guy, James. We know you're an MJ guy, but we know you like your I almost said WNBA. Your NBA chops. I'm an NBA guy myself. But the only reason this is being downgraded, just like the bubble championship is downgraded and has some kind of asterisk for some reason, is because LeBron won.
Right.
This is what we do to LeBron, guys. Every single time LeBron accomplishes something, there's he had a Hall of Fame player on his team. There was no fan base there. He didn't have to play a true road game in the bubble. This is the first in-season tournament. Why does it matter? It doesn't matter. No one cares. It actually matters a lot in postseason placing and other things like that. And what he did to double the salaries of those young guys on this roster that were barely making pennies compared to most NBA players, those young kids, the Hayes and all the other guys on this team that were making, maybe 400-some thousand. Now they're making 1.5 mil. You know what I mean? Literally more than doubled these young guys' salaries and could have changed their lives. A lot of things go into this. Is it banner raising? Of course it is, because I think once we look back, once this becomes a thing for the next decade, and other teams are raising banners when they win theirs, LeBron is going to be the one that won it first at 30, almost 39 years old, and won the MVP and was averaging 28, 6, and 7. And had to beat all the other teams in the NBA to get. You don't think all those other teams wanted to win?
Right.
You don't think the Warriors, their struggles right now, could have used that moral victory in the in-season tournament to win this? or the Bucks when they got knocked out by the Pacers, how pissed off they were. They wanted to win this too. So the fact that LeBron James won it, everyone wants to go, oh, this is rigged, and we all know that the narratives, how it flips if LeBron loses. Oh, here he is losing another situation where he should have won, another possible championship setting where he could have won but he lost. But now he wins it. Oh, LeBron's another meaningless win, another meaningless MVP award. Now they're going to name this after LeBron. You can't win. But yes, the Lakers won the in-season tournament, and they won it in very dominant fashion. They shut down a lot of most of the skill players. The secondary guys for that Pacers team had to go and try to win that for the Pacers and make it somewhat competitive. Because Tyrese Haliburton, as much as I love him, anybody who loves basketball loves the way that guy plays the game. He got his ass shut down. The Lakers made a statement. They made anybody else beat them but him. And they didn't let him do anything, really, for the most part, until like the last garbage time points.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
Just to that point that you're bringing up about Haliburton and the Pacers, because everybody wants to downplay the Pacers, who, by the way, they're 6th seed in the East, which means they're a playoff team.
Oh, but they're better than the 6th seed.
Oh, yeah,
shows,
without question.
Sure. Yeah.
And Haliburton's one of the best players in the league.
Absolutely. He's a superstar.
Buddy Hield's one of the best shooters in the league. Like, Carlisle's one of the best head coaches in the league.
Dude, they beat the Bucks.
Handedly. And go ask the Bucks if it didn't matter to them. They fucking lost their minds.
That's a massive, maybe the biggest rivalry in sports right now.
Yeah, Bobby went back in to his own locker room, and Bobby Portis questioned his guys' integrity before they wanted to keep playing.
Yeah, you don't think they wanted to win? You don't think they wanted to win that?
Dude, and here's the thing. To that point, real quick. If, let's say, the Pacers would have won that game, and they won that in-season tournament, everybody would use that as, wow, what an upset that is. Holy shit, LeBron James lost. If it doesn't matter, why would that be the storyline?
Right.
Because it would be, okay, but this sucks. Who cares? Like, even the LeBron haters would be like, who cares? It's a pointless tournament. The integrity would be there.
See, that's the thing, though.
Because
this
it
tournament's
does
not
matter.
Pointless. People acting like it's pointless because this is the first. This is the first year they're doing it.
Give it 10 years, and all of a sudden this is
back on this, man.
Huge thing, dude.
Yeah.
And so that's the point, is that it is a big deal because of the fact that it's historic. And if anybody out there is an appreciator of history, which I am, which you are, and I'm sure James T. Kirk is as well, because it has his name of a Star Trek character, I would imagine that this is something that's going to matter in the long run for people that are younger, when they saw as a kid. Man, I remember I grew up, I saw LeBron win that first one.
At almost 39 years old.
Yeah. I saw him averaging 26, 8, and 6, shooting 54% from the field, 40% from 3, and won the in-season tournament MVP. Now that that championship or that MVP is named after him. Like, it matters. Yeah. It mattered to us, Trevor, growing up, seeing Michael Jordan win the things he did.
No, what I love is when people try to use. I'm not doing the MJ LBJ debate at this moment, but it is funny when people try to use the fact that MJ won a dunking contest as some kind of like lore to his legacy. But LeBron winning an in-season tournament MVP and championship means nothing. Okay, cool.
Which is based, by the way, on like actual results, where the dunk contest is based on votes.
It's a shtick. It's a gimmick.
Right.
Cool.
Or the 10.
Aaron Gordon won numerous dunking contests. Who gives a shit?
The
Nate
10
Robinson.
Defensive Player of the Year awards are all defensive teams that Michael Jordan made.
Right.
Those are all votes. LeBron's winning things that are of substance that you have to go and get. Where once the final second runs down and that alarm rings, it's did you win or lose?
And at a year separate from 40, he's the most valuable player in the court in that tournament.
Exactly.
So, yes, it is banner worthy and it is praiseworthy. And yes, 100%. Thank you for that question. Starcade Media gives us their key players in this Chiefs game. Key players offense. McKinnon out of the backfield needs to be a key outlet for Mahomes. Agreed. Defense, I think Mike Dana has 2 sacks. That's a great call. I was actually going to mention, that was actually my guy if I didn't mention Chris, but I just feel like Chris needs this game badly.
I like that, though.
Mike Dana is a guy that comes up big for us in moments we don't expect. And definitely in AFC, specifically against the Chargers, but in AFC matchups, Mike Dana is that guy that will sneakily have an incredible game. And that does make a lot of sense. So that's a good call there.
I like those picks.
Brian Parrott. Are we going to see a lot of 12 personnel to combat swarming Kelsey?
I would imagine.
To your point with
I would imagine so. I do think, and plus, I do think the Chiefs are going to try to run the ball in this game too. I do think, and I know the Patriots are a really good run defense, but I do think the Chiefs are going to try to establish a balanced attack. They're going to have to. And if they're going to try to get Travis Kelce open, they're going to have to run 12 personnel. They're going to have multiple big men out there running motions, things like that, getting the smaller guys open, getting extra protection for Patrick Mahomes, chip blocks, things like that. That all equates through 12 personnel. So, yes, Brian, I do expect that we're going to see, because the Chiefs will probably have the ball. They'll probably, run 62 offensive plays in this game, something like that. I'd expect 35-40% of those plays will be 12 personnel, and that's a lot. Yeah. So I do expect it, though, because this is a matchup that would probably require it.
Gotcha. Another basketball question mixed in from our guy, James T. Kirk. Basketball question. We are all seeing legendary coaches are finally being called to the carpet. Bill Belichick, Tomlin can now say that the same thing for Coach Pop from the Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a results business.
Yeah.
And since Kawhi Leonard, those guys left, he's done nothing. And I understand that, we can sit here and be critical on an old man, but is Popovich not paid to win?
Yeah.
I mean, unless they have him out here as like some relic.
They have one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and they got a young rising possible star in Wemby.
They haven't won a thing in
They just beat the Lakers last night, which was a pretty impressive win. But,
I think LeBron and AD were both out, though.
No, LeBron played.
Did LeBron play? Okay, AD was out, and that's a huge. That's probably their best overall player on a normal basis.
I know they lost, but LeBron's 3 over Wemby was incredible.
Was it?
He shot a rainbow corner pocket 3. It was insane.
But no, I do believe that. So I don't think that like Pop's inadequate anymore or anything like that.
I still think he's safe.
No, he's not going anywhere. I'm saying that just there has to start being the question, because he's 73 now.
He's old.
It's just I think it's a fair conversation to be had.
Yeah.
Especially if the Spurs continue their losing ways. Let's say they go 18, 19 wins this season.
Yeah.
You have to ask the question, like, is it time? Like,
and I don't think Wemby is going to be. I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to be good. He's going to be good, but I just don't think Wemby's going to be like this super mega star that people. He's not going to be Giannis. He's not going to be Dirk. He's not going to be one of those guys that's like that unique.
Probably not, but
unique superstar.
That's what makes the greats the greats. But I do think that Wemby's going to be one of the top 10 players in the league for sure. I think he'll be a top 10 player in the league, like while he's playing actively, like in year 3 or 4. I do expect when he's in his mid-20s. I think Wemby's going to be a guy that's averaging 24 and 12. I definitely think that. I think he could.
There's a lot of young stars.
But would you agree he could be an Anthony Davis? I think he'd be an Anthony Davis.
I mean, defensively, sure, but his offensive game needs a lot of work, and I think guys like Chet Holmgren are ahead of him in offensive prowess.
You and I both saw Anthony Davis's one season in Kentucky. Yeah. All he did offensively was catch alley-oops.
Sure.
He had no bag. Sure. No bag. Then he eventually developed a jump shot. He started becoming a better player. I think Wemby's way ahead of Anthony Davis at the age he's at.
His unique stature is just something to behold.
And that's what Anthony Davis has. He has a unique stature. Those long, lanky arms. He plays like a guard. That's kind of how Wemby plays.
Yeah. And he's got a sneaky, pretty good handle, too, which is scary.
I do want to end the debate about him being the next Kevin Durant. That's never going to happen. No. Kevin Durant's one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Kevin Durant, his shooting ability was just... That's what made Dirk... That's what I'm saying. That's why I mentioned Dirk, because Dirk was such a unique player, especially at his time.
But what Wemby's got on Dirk is the defense, because Dirk was never a good defender.
But Dirk was so incredible offensively.
Yes.
That's what... Yeah. I mean, but KD's never been the greatest defender. He's had good defensive years. Sure. But KD is known for his offensive, unstoppable skill set. So, yeah.
That's why the comparison between Dirk and KD is fair. Because they have like the exact same game.
Well, without Dirk, there is no KD.
Exactly, right.
KD formed a lot of his offensive game around Dirk's abilities. The 1-foot jumpers and the high shooting postures and everything like that. Dirk paved the path for a lot of guys. People need to realize that. Next question from Brian Parrott. What's up with Trank's concussion? I believe he's playing.
No, I think he cleared protocol.
Yeah.
I do believe he cleared protocol, so he's good. He should be fine. I do think it is going to be something the Chiefs are going to be paying close attention to, because as we do know in this league, once a guy gets one, it's a lot easier for him to get another. Sure. So I do think we need to watch out. We do need to watch out.
Yeah, and having
Nick Bolton back.
Nick Bolton back, he could be more of in the rotation. And Nick Bolton looked really good coming back. Yeah. I mean, he was out there for damn near every snap last week. So
he looked fine.
Having both those two guys back in the rotation is going to be that's huge for our defense, man. And his follow-up question is, how close is Cook? I don't really know. I mean, Cook's probably at least a couple of weeks away.
He was put on the IR, so I don't think we're going to see him for the regular season. Yeah. Hopefully, if the Chiefs end up squeaking out and getting that 1 seed and they give that extra bye week, then I do think we'd see Brian Cook in the divisional round.
Yeah.
I do expect that. I don't think he's done for the whole season, because it ended up being a sprained ankle, as crazy as that sounds. There was from what we've heard, there's been no ligament damage, like true ligament damage, where anything tore. and there was obviously no bone structural damage.
Yeah.
So he should be back in the next
incredible.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd expect the next 4 or 5 weeks to see Brian Cook back.
That's just
insane.
His durability is wild.
Bro, his foot was in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
it's wild,
that's a
dude.
brutal picture.
Yeah.
James T. Kirk, this is the last question from him. I will read it, but this will be addressed here soon, if you know what I'm saying. Draymond Green, shake my head. What is his problem? Last of my basketball questions.
Then I'll give my take.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah.
Here's my thing, guys. I have been saying for the longest time, and I kind of compile it with the same thing I said about Ron Artest way back in the Spoken days when I was doing videos with a fellow friend of Trevor and I's, Terry Love. I was doing a video with him and a guy named Derek Williams back in my old days. And I said that I think that Ron Artest needed to retire because I don't think he could handle the rigors of the NBA. He couldn't handle the pressure anymore to where he's literally... There's a difference between hard fouls or chippiness, and then there's assault. And you guys remember that 7-game suspension that Ron Artest got when he pulled back and elbowed James Harden in the back of the head that can literally cause brain trauma. We've seen boxers lose motor skills because of hits like that. And James Harden got popped right in the back of the head by an elbow from a guy like Ron Artest who's huge and very strong. That could have really changed the whole career path, let alone life path of James Harden. And I said that things like that always alert me that I think that there's something that's going on with the guy that's far deeper than the game. And I think that is exactly what's happening with Draymond. I don't want to sound hyperbolic or dramatic here, but guys, Draymond has real mental issues. These are real problems. To the point now where the NBA is literally telling him, you're not allowed to come back on the court until we know that you can fix them, which means, guys, I don't think we're going to see Draymond for at least a month. I don't want to put a timeline on it, but sure, I don't think he's coming back anytime soon because he has been ejected for assaulting players in different ways in the last 28 days. Think about that, guys. In a month's time, this man got ejected 3 times for what he did was the equivalent of going to jail for on the streets. Yeah. If you did any of the things he's done to these men on the streets, he's in jail.
Or just at your job.
At your job, yes,
this
exactly.
Is a job. Imagine doing this to someone in the office.
It's gotten to the point, where people have criticized Steve Kerr, and they're like, Steve Kerr's got all these lectures and all these advice things he has for everybody else except Draymond. Guys, that changed. Yeah. We heard Steve Kerr literally say, that guy that choked out Rudy, that guy that's hit this guy, that guy that's hit Steven Adams in the balls, that guy that just did that to Yusuf, that guy needs to change. Steve Kerr, the last line of defense for Draymond in all of this, has finally had enough. I don't think he's going to be a Warrior very much longer. I don't think he's going to be with them next year for sure. Even though he just got that restructure, the contract extension. This guy has a real human problem, not a basketball problem. This goes beyond the game. He's now assaulting players, and to the point of the other side of things, like Jay Williams said on ESPN's Get Up the other day, which was a great point, is we're sitting here focusing on Draymond, which is fair, because this guy's got a problem. We need to make sure he gets help. But on the other side of this, the players that he's assaulting should not have to go to work, which is the NBA, and worry about whether they're going to get decked in the head or not, or they're going to get choked out or not. They shouldn't have to go to their work, like Trevor was saying, go to your workplace and be worried of whether I'm going to get assaulted by my coworker.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to worry about a people's elbow around the corner.
It should never happen. And what Draymond's doing is he's putting himself and others in danger. And that is a problem. That is a real, real issue, guys. If we're going to sit here and put John Morant through the ringer for having a gun on Instagram Live multiple times, and he's going through all the shit he's going through, Draymond Green needs to go through 10 times as much. Because this guy is an absolute serial assaulter. This guy goes out here and hits people all the freaking time throughout the years. This man's got a damn highlight reel. So I'm not stealing Trevor's thunder, but I need to give my take because I'm assuming Trevor has one in a little bit. Yeah. But that's where I'm at on it. I think that Draymond is going to be a Hall of Fame player. But unfortunately, Draymond is going to have a myriad of legacy tarnishers and things like this, where we're going to sit here and talk about, yeah, he's a 4-time champion, he helped them, he's one of the best defensive players of all time, but, and that's the thing that sucks for him, is there's always going to be this but he was a dirty fucking player. He hurt a lot of people. He caused a lot of problems. Never took accountability for any of it. He always said that he didn't regret any of it. Those are real issues, man. That's why I think he's always going to be frowned upon, unfortunately, when he should be celebrated. Because he is, to his credit, one of the better defenders we've ever seen, and is a 4-time champion. Those are things that we should be focusing on. Unfortunately, due to his own chagrin, that is what we're focusing on, is him doing shit like this, and it's just really unfortunate, man.
That is all the questions.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys. It was awesome speaking. We love it every single time you guys join us in this segment because this is what we look forward to every single week is to get in communication with you guys, to hear what you guys want to talk about, to hear what your guys' questions are. And we can't put a price tag on that, and we thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, whoever is holding those L's deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺, who's holding the L for you this week?
Yeah, I mean, we just alluded to it, and it was good timing. It was a good little segue there to go right into my L. My L is going to Draymond Green. The sweet chin Draymond, if you will, the walls of Draymond Green. Listen, man, this has been anybody who's known Draymond, this has been who he is, and we talk about this man needs help. With the latest debacle with Jusuf Nurkic, absolutely just getting waylaid across his head. Luckily, he's as big as a man as he is to take that blow. If that was somebody of smaller stature, that could have been an even more severe injury. Sustained there. So luckily for him, he's not pressing charges because I would not blame him if he did, honestly. That's some shady shit, and this is what Draymond's been. No ball sack is safe, no throat is safe, no eyeball is safe. I mean, this guy just is going for all the angles he can get for his whole entire career. Do you guys still think Jordan Poole is wrong? I mean, honest question. Who do you think they'd rather have right now? This team that's lacking the luster offensively that they've had for so long. Klay Thompson not playing like himself. You don't think they can use that spark?
Right.
Just saying. He took that punch and he got cut. Okay. That was wild to me. I never understood how that actually happened. And Jordan Poole's kind of a knucklehead himself. He's kind of a goober. But that kid, you cannot deny that kid's offensive talent and what they could definitely be using that right now because the Warriors suck right now. Yep. The Warriors are not a good team right now. Steve Kerr, as great as a coach as he is and as fun of a soundbite as he is and as wise a guy I think he is, they are all suffering right now. You see Steph, first time I've ever really seen Steph going at it on his bench. There's mic'd up moments where you can see Steph's like cussing his guys out on the bench. I've never seen that before. Steph's one of the most composed guys I've ever seen, which makes him great. Is what's always made him great. Is his ability just to remain composed and hit big shots in his career and be a great leader, which he's always been. He's losing it.
Yep.
So, in similar fashion to what Patrick Mahomes, we've been seeing out of Patrick Mahomes, things going on with his teammates, and he's letting it out on other outlets, you know what I mean? So it's seeing Steph Curry losing it like that, and then just the and we talk about this guy needs help with Draymond. All these players, come out and semi-supporting him, tell him, that he just needs the help that hopefully he gets the help that he needs. The guy's had therapy before, guys. This is not the first time. This has been his whole career. He's great of a defensive player as he is. He's a nutcase. And for so long, people wanted to call him this smart guy, and his podcast this, his podcast that. He's a very smart. I think we give him too much credit, and I'm being very very serious right now. I never bought the whole Draymond's such a smart guy. I just don't. I don't think the guy is very smart because intelligent people don't do these things for so long, and can continue to do the things like this for so long. He's been given chance after chance and had the support of his teammates. Granted, he has been a massive part of the run that the Warriors have been on and the dynastic run that they've done and the things that they've accomplished. I'm not debating what he does on the floor. 100%, he's one of the best defensive players of his entire generation.
Right.
And was a key glue guy to those in championship runs and was the one that bitched and moaned until they got KD there. So congrats on that. But the dude is a nutcase, and he is not right in the head. I think that is very clear. We've seen great defenders like the Rodmans and the Artests, and a lot of those guys tend to kind of be loose cannons. They kind of tend to have a screw loose, if you will. But I think he should be. I mean, how many more of these do we need to see until he's suspended and banned from the NBA? Honestly,
that's what I'm saying, man.
I know that may sound like a soft take to some of these people, especially you old heads when you enjoyed your CTE league. I get it, but that's not what the NBA has. No time for that. The NBA has no room for that. This is a sport, a skill sport. This is not a sport that needs excessive violence for no reason. I mean, you go watch that play over and over again. Watch like I have when when Nurkic was literally just was touching him, feeling his side, kind of just playing up on him, not grabbing on anything, nothing. And he just wallops, close fist swings. And Draymond's not a small guy, guys. This is a 6'8", 6'9" guy. 250-some pounds, 260-some pound guy. Swinging his fist at somebody. It's just completely unneeded. The guy is unhinged. And you say a month, I think it could be numerous months this guy's out because he's already had a in-game suspension or in-season suspension already this year. What was it, 6-7 games? I mean, this is just continuing to grow and get worse. I think he's a danger to some people to other players, opposite players. I mean, not even we've seen this guy knock out attempting to concuss his own teammates at practice.
And all the while, it's a detriment to his own team.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, this is, I mean, how many chances is this guy going to get, in my personal opinion? He's on his way out in his career anyways. I only want to say one more because how many chances is he going to get? I think one more, he should be banned for life in this league. He should be done. There's no space for this man. And yeah, 100% is a detriment to his own team and what they want to try to continue to be. You know, and you already got Clay frustrated being benched. You know, Steph's out here trying to play hero ball every single play, every single time he's on the floor trying to do everything he can. He's still playing great basketball, but this team is cooked, in my opinion. This team is not going to do anything. This team could possibly miss the playoffs this year. Rough to see, but I think Draymond's finally getting his due, and the guy has gotten plenty of help in his career. I hope he finds his peace. I hope he finds a way to relax and chill out. But this is example 30 now. He's had numerous occasions where he's had basically assault on the NBA court, and it's unacceptable, man. As a fan of the league, that's not something I want to see. It's not fun for anybody. Definitely not fun for Warrior fans. I'm sure they're tired of it at this point now too. So for that, Draymond Green, do me a solid favor, my guy, and hold this L.
We live in a time and age where podcasting and there's a lot of different media. We talk about how Travis Kelce has the New Heights podcast. He gets to relay his opinions. He gets to talk about what he believes, and Jason Kelce does the same thing. Draymond has his own podcast. Hasn't been doing it lately. But we know that Micah Parsons and guys down the list of players, former and current, that are having shows. And it's really cool, too, because we're getting kind of exclusive content we wouldn't have gotten 15, 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. Themselves. Yes. Yeah. We always had to go through news sources. But even in news sources, we have former players that are a part of these shows that give their opinions. And a lot of times we don't think twice about it because these guys are former players, so therefore we always give them that credence, that clout, that justification of listening to them because they played this game, so therefore they must know it at a higher level. Whether you believe that or not, that is the way a lot of people look at it and view it. Well, Cam Newton has a podcast, and he's been doing this show for quite a while. And Cam Newton has never been short of somebody that draws controversy. I don't think it's always intentional. I think he's just a guy that really believes what he says, and sometimes it is controversial stances. And he came out this week, and he was talking about how he believed there's only about 4 or 5 actual game-changing quarterbacks in this league, and everybody else are game managers. Now, there's an open opinion as to what a game manager is. If it's a good thing, it's a negative thing. A lot of people look at that negatively because a lot of game managers aren't guys that win you Super Bowls. They're guys who just kind of stay out of the way. And if you're lucky and have a great team, you can win a Super Bowl with a game manager. It's happened throughout history. Mm-hmm. But game changers are the guys that you pay for. And to Cam Newton's credit, and I wish I had the clip for it, but you can find it. Cam Newton has about a 10-minute diatribe that he reacts to some of the pushback he got on this. And he said something, Trevor, that was perfect. He said, NFL execs aren't drafting for game managers. Right. They're looking for game changers.
Right.
So that's why he said there's a difference between those guys and game managers. It's not always a negative thing, but there's just tiers and how we go. And he goes, I think he said the guys that are game changers are Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and I think Jalen Hurts. I could be wrong, but I think that was the 5th guy he put in there. The other guys, he said Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, and guys like that are game managers. Mm-hmm. And that pissed a lot of people off because Dak, in my opinion, has had an MVP season.
You trigger Cowboy Nation.
Yes. Yeah. And to the point, though, Dak, for the majority of his career, has been more of a game manager style of quarterback, 100%. Even though his numbers have been awesome.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a guy, though, that's been an elite quarterback, and we know why, because it hasn't always been him leading the way. It's been really good defenses, really good run games, sometimes both. It hasn't always been Dak. He's kind of had to just play his part. So I understand where Cam was coming from. But the problem I have, Trevor, is not that people have disagreed with Cam. It's the fact that people are trying to now discolor his character or why his opinion is invalid or try to make it sound like his opinion isn't valid.
Ad hominems.
So I'm going to play a tape. This is from Get Up, ESPN. One Kimberly Martin. It's a very short clip. This is them after watching the video of Cam saying these very words that I just reiterated. This is Kimberly Martin's response to Cam Newton's take.
I'm just so, honestly, Move past the outfit for a second. He literally said, in the year of 2023, where it's all about NFL backups, where's Cam? Not on an NFL roster, right? So he's talking about all these NFL game managers. He sounds like the people literally tweeting at me from their basement, like, get back in the kitchen. Like, it's like you are at home watching me. Like just turn the TV off.
Probably
like,
in the kitchen.
Like, it just sounds so foolish.
I'm going to be very careful on how I say this because I know that there's a lot of people that get canceled for saying stuff like this. Kimberly Martin, who the fuck is she? Why does she have her job? Because now she's put herself in this conversation by trying to compare herself to Cam Newton. First of all, like Trevor said, ad hominem attack on Cam Newton, the way he was dressed.
Attacking the person, not the argument.
Attacking the person, not the argument, and the way he dressed. You can say that he has a goofy style. Who cares? What the fuck does that got to do with what he's saying?
I love it. I love that he does that stuff.
It has nothing to do with what he's saying. It doesn't change the message at all. But that's the first part. Then she's saying, why isn't he on an NFL roster? I don't know. Maybe it's because of the fact that he has a surgically repaired shoulder that literally can't throw the ball anymore. Maybe it's because of the fact he's in his mid-30s, and by the time you're in your mid-30s, most quarterbacks aren't playing football anymore. There are the few that do that. But let's go ahead and just throw that aside for a second. She's sitting here trying to downplay his opinion, which, by the way, never even broke down why his opinion was wrong. She just said those things.
Ad hominem.
But then I guess we're just going to ignore the accolades here, Trev. And I'm going to go ahead and bring those up because she decided not to.
Right.
So these are Cameron Newton career highlight and awards. And this is going not just in his NFL career, but his collegiate career. NFL's MVP in 2015. NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2015. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2011. First Team All-Pro in 2015. 3-time Pro Bowler. PFWA All-Rookie Team. Burt Bell Award. 2-time BCS National Champion in 2008 and 2010. NJCAA National Football Champion in 2009. Heisman Trophy winner. Maxwell Award winner. Walter Camp Award winner. Manning Award winner. Davey O'Brien Award winner. AP College Player of the Year Award winner. Sports News College Player of the Year Award winner. Consensus All-American. SEC Offensive Player of the Year. First Team All-SEC in 2010. He has the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 75, by far the most in NFL history. The most rushing attempts by a quarterback with 1,118, and he is also the NFL's all-time leader in career quarterback rushing and second in career quarterback rushing yards. Following a stint with University of Florida, Newton played college football at Auburn University, where he won the Heisman Trophy in 2011 and the national championship as a junior, and was selected first overall, by the way, by the Carolina Panthers.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Let's go ahead and look at Kimberly Martin's accomplishments real quick. Kimberly Martin, she started her career as a reporter on Newsday. No fucking clue what that is. After that, she worked in the Washington Post from 2017, and later she joined ESPN from Yahoo Sports as a senior NFL writer from 2018. During her tenure, she hosted all-female soccer shows. Later, she joined ESPN as an NFL reporter in 2020. Who the fuck is she? Can we start doing ad hominem attacks on her, or would that get us canceled? Because it's obviously fair game for her to sit here and shit on a guy that has accomplished 15 times the amount that she has in her career. She's sitting here on this platform for a certain reason that we don't have to discuss, attacking this man for an opinion that she didn't even actually attack. She attacked the man. For what? For what? Why? What was the purpose of that? Saying that it's the same as men in her mentions telling her to get back in the kitchen? How? How is that in any way, shape, or form the same thing? No one is telling you to do that, first of all. Second of all, Cam Newton has every right to express his opinion. You know why I know that? Because Dan Orlovsky's sitting right across from you. Jeff Saturday's sitting right next to you. Dominique Foxworthy sitting right next to you. All former NFL players. Why is their opinions valid? Why are they allowed to have opinions? Why do you have to sit there and listen to them, but you can't listen to Cam Newton? Because he's not in the league anymore? None of those guys are either. So why don't you ask the same question to him? And while you do that, why don't you go Google yourself and see if you can find yourself on there? Because it actually took me about 15 minutes to even find any information on Kimberly Martin.
Don't even got a
Cam
wiki.
Newton, I don't have to Google the man. I know his accomplishments because we saw it in front of our faces for the last 15 years. So Kimberly Martin, do me a solid. You don't have to go back to the kitchen and do anything, but if you did, I'm kind of hungry, so you might want to get me something. Do me a solid while you're at it, though, and hold this L.
Talking about one of arguably the greatest athlete to ever play in the NFL. He's one of the greatest athletes, the greatest athlete to ever play quarterback.
75 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. You're going to attack the man and then question his take, but you're not even going to acknowledge what he actually was.
That's crazy, man.
It's insane.
I never heard that clip. That's wild.
And then she tried to double down on it a day later because she got crushed on Twitter and all the social media platforms by her trash-ass argument.
Yeah, apparently
it wasn't even an argument.
Apparently she's being dragged is what I'm seeing. So
yeah, rightfully so, man. And I don't give a fuck if she's a woman or a man. That's a stupid-ass take.
Oh, bad take is a bad take.
Stupid-ass take, man. And you saw Dominique in the video. You guys saw the clip. He's just like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He was super uncomfortable. Yeah, he was super uncomfortable because they knew that was some bullshit.
Yeah.
But you know what wasn't bullshit? This show, damn it. We had a blast today. You guys were awesome. We appreciate you guys for being a part of this. Speak, it was awesome, man. We had a great time talking with you guys, chatting back and forth. Trevor and I gave you our takes and our opinions, our viewpoints on what's going to happen with the Chiefs against the Patriots. Do not let the conversation stop here with us, though, guys. We're just getting off air. The show goes on. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on here. You guys can continue up the chats. Whatever you guys want to do, keep chiming in, keep talking to us. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Let us know about the show, how much you guys love the show, because we know that's the only way you feel about this thing. We're going to keep this bad boy rolling. We hope that the Chiefs are going to have a nice little victory this week against the New England Patriots. We will see. And I hope that you guys, after the nooner game, by the way, it's one of the few noon games the Chiefs have this season, that you will join Trevor and I, along with Von Booker, 9-year NFL veteran, 4-year Chiefs veteran, on Chatting Up the Chiefs postgame show directly after the Chiefs game tomorrow. We will give you guys our immediate responses and reactions to what took place up in New England against the Chiefs and Patriots. But in the meantime, for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Winther that puts us all together on the back end of things, I am Lance Twidwell. Episode 247 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here in 1 week's time, hopefully talking about the Chiefs squeaking that much closer to getting that 1 seed, maybe getting themselves a repeat of Super Bowl champions. We will definitely see about that. We out of this bitch.
Later.